Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday night. Thanks for coming to the Midnight Matinee. Tonight we are doing Avengers. We're on episode 6 or 7. I'll make sure to hit you in the description. If you haven't seen any other ones, go back and check them. Thanks for coming. What's up? It's the worst aim gamer ever. It's your boy. My dumbass just went through about 6 or 8 minutes of an intro with everybody and didn't realize I didn't hit record, so we had to do that again. So we had a dry run. We're going through it now. You folks, I appreciate you coming and watching. Remember to like, hit the subscribe, get the notification bell so that when I do actually remember to hit the record, you can see it. And if it is live, you can watch it. So I greatly appreciate you tonight. Oh, God, I'm such an idiot. Self-talk. We don't want that bad self-talk. God, I made a mistake. Either way, tonight I got my boy Sir Sturdy with me. What's good? I got an old friend of mine, Chuck, who's coming in. This dude is a sneakerhead, sports head, fucking Marvel head. So he's going to be our aficionado this evening. So thank you, sir, for joining us. Anytime. So as we just said, we love all different things. I had a Nerf war with my nephew yesterday for his birthday, and the house was full of his relatives and such. Gatling guns, bullets flying, darts flying. I'm picking up little darts and pew, because I didn't have one. And I'm getting shot in the eye with automatic weapons. It was like a war zone. It really was like a war zone. And before I forget, Kettle Corn, NYC, there's a truck out. They were in Guilderland at the bowling alley. They're out in Troy, New York at the Walmart Plaza on Hoosick Street. Every flavor is pretty much fire. Go let them know I showed you this and I sent it, because you're going to want to spend your money and you will be back. And I do apologize. You might need a line of credit. So, not that the prices are bad, just that you're going to want so much. And if y'all want to be a sponsor, you can be, because I love the popcorn. God damn it. That was just a faster, condensed version of what we said for 8 minutes, just so I can get this ball rolling. Pew, pew. Literally what I was doing, and people are looking at me like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden they're getting laser beamed. Like, I got them just right. Just the right pitch with the throw, and it's just, they're like, how the fuck is he throwing them so straight? Well, you know. Pew. Seriously. You know what's funny? They went out to Dave & Buster's, so there was nothing but cake and fucking treats and candy for this little guy, so he enjoyed himself once he got back. Yo, so much so that the actual cake didn't even get touched. Like, the actual cake did not get touched. Oreos got dove into. Chips Ahoy's got dove into. The candy was all over the place. The piñata was popped. Fucking, let's see, what else? I made cupcakes and like 3 or 4 of them got eaten. I may or may not have been hiding under the table in the corner, reaching up, grabbing cupcakes so no one can see me as the bullets were flying. At one point, I did get shot. Somebody realized I was under there, and they, like, came down from the other room and pa-pa-pa-pa-pa. So I picked up a white cupcake that had white frosting on it. I started waving it as, you know, I concede. I concede, I give. Oh, yeah. Once the bullet stopped for a second, yep. There was no actual casualties. There were a lot of fallen playmates, but no actual casualties. I got copped in the eye. I mean, you can't complain. You got Skittles if you want it. You got Starburst. You had Oreos, cupcakes, soda. Bro, the sisters had a mini bar set up. I was good, and I don't drink like that. I don't drink like that either. I had a mini bar set up. It did get cloudy outside a couple times. You know, the fog was out, shall we say. That just made me pop in my head like if fucking The Notebook was done with Flavor Flav and ODB, or Brokeback Mountain with ODB and Flavor Flav, or Bismarcky or something. Like, that would have done nothing in the box office.
Full episode, because like I said, we usually do the 2 movie thing, so it's gonna be 1 episode. Sex and the City 2. We're gonna be drinking Cosmos.
No, perfect.
Breaking the scarf back out. That's another thing. Like, I'll wear like a scarf and some sort of sunglasses. One of my wife's scarves and sunglasses anytime it hits the Chick's Picks wheel. And We just have to do it. And once we redo the wheel, you got to have your wife pick some movies. It doesn't have, and the thing with the movies, it doesn't have to be girly movies. It just has to be their picks.
Nah, I got you.
Whatever they pick.
I'll get involved. Definitely. Sit her down, you know what I mean? Put a shiny object in front of her and be like, all right, write down 10 movies. Just have it keep moving back and forth so she can focus.
Do you see that? Do you know what her picks would kind of be?
I got an idea of how many does she get to do? 10 apiece?
No, I don't think we did that, man. I think we only
apiece?
did like between 4 and 6, I believe. I forgot.
Right, if it's like 5, I think I got at least 3. She can always throw a curveball or 2, you know what I mean? But I'm almost positive she's gonna do like Last Christmas. She loves that movie. She's probably gonna do a Madea movie, and she's probably gonna man.
At least with the Madea movies, they're funny if you like them or not. There is some parts that are funny.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
I think one more that for sure she would probably do. Last Christmas for sure, Madea.
Like we have 50 Shades of Grey on one of those wheels, Chris.
Honestly, I don't even think she's seen them. I haven't seen them. I don't know if she's seen them. I want to see them. Like I've wanted to see them. I don't know why I haven't just forced myself to watch them for some reason.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either.
Me either.
I started reading the book, actually. I started reading the first one when it was at the height of its hype and shit like that. And I was like, oh, man, okay. Let me, I can kind of see why people are all in this. But then, like, you know, the craziest part about that is like, we'll watch shit like that. God forbid, but then we're judged. Like, but they'll read it and it's like, oh my God, like, this is so great. Like,
I think it was funny when it actually, like you're saying, the hype and everything, and people were like, you know, at the time I think I was working at the bank, and people would come in on their break and they had the book in their hand and everything. You just looked at the woman, you're like, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know you.
They're trying to like get back to like reality. Like, does everybody know how dirty I am right now? Like,
yeah, right.
You know, what's funny is around that hype. No, it wasn't that. It was the stripper movie that all the girls wanted to see.
Magic Mike.
Oh yeah,
it's like all the guys are going to the movie for a teddy bear, and all the girls go to the movies for strippers or something.
Yep.
I was like, because it was fucking Ted.
Yep. Ted's a great movie.
Oh, hilarious! Fuck you, Thunder.
Ted was.
Oh my God. My little 3-year-old nephew, when there was a thunderstorm when I was down there, he was getting scared, and I called him my Thunder Buddy, and he still calls me his Thunder Buddy.
That's cool. That's cool.
I was gonna say, if he was saying "fuck you, Thunder," you could suck my dick. I'm like,
no, we didn't get that far. Although he's dropped them. He has dropped them already because you know, my family does have somewhat of a potty mouth. So he has learned those words, but he didn't learn the full song yet. He will eventually, I'm sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Love it. I fucking love it.
Yeah. I dropped an F-bomb in front of him, and then I said, no, I said fun. So it's like, what the fun? And he'll walk around going, what the fun? And then out of nowhere, you just hear, what the fuck? And you're just like, oh, damn it. I thought fun was going to stick.
Nope, never does. Yo, they learn them swear words so quick. Like you could be telling them like cat, cat. You walk in the other stub your toe. Fuck. I'm like, fuck.
Yep. Yep. They know those words.
Yes. They immediately know there's something about this I probably shouldn't be saying, especially since they looked at me so fast, but I'm gonna walk away and then like 4 days later, hey Chris, yeah. I was having some problems and it was like, what the fuck? And what did you just say? I didn't say nothing bad. What? You know you did.
Right.
What do you mean?
It's so natural. It's like, oh no, I didn't. This is just who I am.
It's like it took 2 seconds. It's like you said it. I was shocked and I was like, what'd you say? I didn't say nothing bad. You know you did. If you saying you didn't say nothing bad, you know you said something bad.
Exactly. That's how they are. Gotta love them.
Oh, you gotta pay homage to Steve Harvey, and kids say the darndest things. Let me tell you.
Oh man, yeah. I love that stuff.
It's so great. It's so good. I wish that show was like on HBO. You know how funny that show would have been.
Oh, I know. And honestly, like kids do say the darndest things. They have a vocabulary on them that you don't expect sometimes. Yeah. They take perspectives that you would never think of. Yeah, and they're perfect. It's like they should be writing shows.
Bro, you see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is at the cusp of it now. It's ready to go. When this shit first started brewing, I didn't even know it was there. Get him out the car. We come up the steps. He's going into his house. He wants to try to run up the stairs, right? And everybody's like, "No, we're coming in the house, coming in the house." as he's being pulled, he's like, "Hey man, why you got pimple on your face?" And just runs away. I'm like, emotional damage.
You've been getting bullied a lot by children, Chris.
My response was because I got bulk, and then I stopped. I was like, because I got hair everywhere, and just walked away.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep.
They're so like brutally honest sometimes.
Oh,
they're like old people.
Yeah, very. Yeah, old souls.
The only difference is they don't know any better. They don't know any better, really. And old people, they're just like, fuck the filter. I'm old. I'll say what the fuck I want to.
They don't know any better, but then old people forget to know better. Oh,
like,
shit.
Like, for example, an old person, right? You're getting fat. Just straight out. Somebody else will be like, listen, I think you know, come. And not only that, but they'll be like loud about it. Like, hey, Chris, hey, you put on a couple pounds, didn't you? In front of everybody. You might be someone who's like all upset about your weight that decided to like pull you to the side. Like, something like, oh, yeah, man, you know, you're putting on a little weight. You might want to check that out. Just whatever. Like, he don't miss it. He's showing up.
Like, you ain't no spring chicken yourself. You put on like 150 pounds since you were 25. Okay, so let's not worry about me right now. How's your diaper doing? Like,
yeah, but then they'll post up like, yeah, but I'm 75. Get ready to change his diaper, bitch. Like, fuck. God damn, you win again.
Warm wipes or cold wipes? I'll be right back. Like, oh, we're horrible. All right, guys, let's go. We got to get into this movie podcast tonight. Avengers. Chuck, you want to start us off, man? What's your initial thought of this when you first going through this and watching? Did you mute? Did you mute again? What happened?
No, you muted me.
I don't even know how. I didn't even touch anything.
Jesus, sturdy.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Okay. I think this was, you know, one of the most important in the whole series so far of this, like the Infinity Saga, because this was the first culmination of all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is what everyone was waiting for. There was a reason why this broke, you know, records gross wise, you know, for movies in general in history. It was huge.
For sure.
Agreed.
Sturdy?
I agree with him on that level, and Chris, I have to do it because I've been doing it every single fucking episode. DC,
go for it.
This is what you should have did with the Justice League. Like, you know, you can have your Batman movie, and then you can have, like, say, a Flash movie, and then have the Avengers movie. A few of them, or sorry, it would be Justice League, but you know what I mean. And then the ones that deserve the single movies, you do those after for a few, and then you kind of just copy Marvel somewhere. Just copy Marvel, basically. Just copy Marvel. There's no reason why we should have 18 different Batman movies. And then every time you want to do it, oh, let's start over with Batman again. And then have the Joker again. It's like, that's cool, but let's get, there's way more characters in this. There's way more development that you guys could be doing.
I think on the DC front too, I mean, they did, you know, end up getting James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy and everything. And he turned a lot of things with, you know, the Suicide Squad and you know, the Peacemaker show. He's starting to turn things for DC in the right direction. And, you know, that was stealing straight from Marvel.
Yeah, 20 years too late.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, I don't know if it is late, but I don't know if it's too late, just for the simple fact that if they can make a good quality products of movies, then they got something. But I already know, even I haven't seen the new Batman movie. I heard it was great. Even if
I saw it.
Even if that is really great, they're gonna fuck up another movie one way or another. We all know it. They always do it. Like, oh yeah, this is an excellent movie. Okay, and here's my problem. Yeah, this is an excellent movie. So let's just change everything with the next one. Let's change everything that worked with this. Let's do the complete opposite with the next.
Yep. Let's see if this works.
I'm hoping they get a little bit more on the plan and get a little more focus on the plan, because you can obviously tell they had a plan, but it wasn't a good plan at all. Obviously, with the way they fucked up, you know, Green Lantern, and then, you know, subsequent movies after that and all that stuff. But even, like, you know, we talked about the water guy, Aquaman, but watching some of the new trailers and shit like that, like with this Batman, I'm kind of excited to see it, and I really want to see it more so for the content, and so that I can, like, dive into it and kind of hopefully give them a praise. But at the same time, I'm nervous about the next surrounding movies that are coming that were already in the plan and in the phase of it, like with Flash, and like even though The Rock's associated with it, I'm nervous for Black Adam. Like, I'm nervous for fucking, you know, the next Justice League movie. I'm nervous for them to fuck up again with Cyborg or something, especially if they're not going to have the same Cyborg, because it seems like, you know, the problems because Homeboy opened his mouth about an injustice that was happening to him on set and other people that he saw. But
well, Josh Whedon, there's a lot of people that didn't like Josh Whedon at that point too.
It sucks. I hope they recover. Like you said, it's starting to turn around. Peacemaker is actually pretty good. I'm on episode 3, I think, right now.
So good. So good.
But real quick, though, what I'll say with them, I haven't watched Peacemaker, but I am watching, I told you I was watching Titans. They do great with with animated. They do amazing. And with, like, the series, I feel like they do a really good job. It's when it comes time to do the movie, it's just like...
I agree with that.
I don't know what... Maybe... and there's nothing wrong with this at all. DC,
like the Killing Joke was amazing, and you know, like there's a lot of things that you're right in the fact that they've really nailed the animation, but when it comes to live action, they need to do a little bit more from, like, take some things that you've done with the animation, bring it over to live action,
or just stick with animation. Stick with animation and do TV series. If that, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's your strong suit, do that, because you not
Harley Quinn. That cartoon series is hilarious.
I gotta check it out. I saw the Harley Quinn with the Catwoman, or was it Ivy? I think it was Ivy. Yeah. It's good. They gotta do something, because it's one of those things. They have the capacity to do it. They already have the source material, and that's the thing that drives me fucking crazy. Is there's so much great source material that they change and deviate from that fucks things up, and then whoever they get to do them decides, whatever, I'm doing it. They're paying me. It's my time. I'm gonna, bro. You don't break shit that ain't fucking broke. You don't, you know what I mean? Like, you don't try to reinvent the wheel out of nowhere when you were like, yo, I'm such a big fan of this, I want to do this, let me do this, and then you do it and you completely take it different directions. You sold yourself on your ability to be able to bring the masses who already know the stories and appreciate them to come see the shit, and then you completely deviate and destroy what they were expecting to see. Now, I get we probably shouldn't expect much, because expectations lead to disappointments, and be happy that it unrolls the way it does. But the fact is, it doesn't unroll well enough to be that left about things to the truest fans, because that's who are gonna come watch this. First and foremost, it's gonna be people who know what the fuck this is. Then it's gonna be them spreading the word, and the people that are just interested to see something new. So, like, there's more of us that know already than there are that are the new that are going to come watch this for sure to pay the dollars. Agreed. So make sure you're getting us and including them. That's the difference. Get us, include them. Like, we're the core group. They're just coming into this. We're the ones that fucking for the last like 35 years have been fucking shelling out and excited about the shit.
Yep.
I'll even say the people that came before us. They were also, you know, the older ones that were into this type of stuff. Do it for them as well. Like, shit, do it for, like you're saying, do it for the core fan base. Stop trying to look for a money grab, and the money will come. Because you guys keep putting out this bullshit, and people are going, I don't want to go see that now.
Well, I think one of the main reasons why Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe and why Disney bought them, was and has been so successful is because you have Kevin Feige, who is a true comic book fan that stays to the material, make sure that each one of these movies intertwines with each other in some way, just kind of like how the comics book did. He takes a lot of the aspects of the comic books and brings them in not only by storyline and content, but how they intertwine with each other too. It's something that, you know, is probably the key to what makes this cinematic universe successful.
So you got 3 people who are super passionate about it, working on all of these movies together, and then a bunch of people that they're hand choosing that also love this thing and love what they've done with the first few to make this continue to stay consistent and keep it on the same pathway, and that's important. You got Kevin Feige, you got Louis D'Esposito, and you got Jon Favreau. If you deviate from any of them, or at least the vision they initially set forth, this is a completely different series. This is a completely different experience, and it's very, very important to make sure that they understand that they've already laid the way. They've already paved the brick, the mortar, the stone, and the roadway for you. Now, anybody else who comes on board and gets into this, they have to make sure they're sticking true to it. You cannot stray from, at this point in time, the teachings of your elders. Like, this is the way. As the Mandalorian would say, so is the way. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yep. I agree with you. And, you know, bringing on the Russo brothers who kept the consistency with, you know, the Civil War and then into the two other Avengers, well, the two end parts of Infinity War and Endgame. It was they really took exactly the material that they needed and you know used it to the benefit of the audience. I mean, they hit us on so many different emotions. They did a really good job.
They really did. They really did. And, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, too, because we're going to get to it eventually here coming up soon, too, within probably the next 4 episodes or so. But some of my favorite in the entire series is, like, Civil War and Winter Soldier, and then the end, you know what I mean, the Infinity stuff. You know, I'm starting to really find an affinity for, like, Shang-Chi and some of this next chapter and even the episodic stuff that they threw in. But for me, those were some of my favorite. And, like, I feel like I'm in the minority when I say that, when people are like, what's your favorite Marvel movie? And I'm like, Winter Soldier, or I'm just like, yo, Civil War. And it's always a toss-up for me. If you got to catch me at the right time for me to say which one is which. But, like, people will be like, this guy's a liar. He told me last week it was Winter Soldier. Why he just tell him it's... Because they're so good and there's so many of them to choose from. But I can definitely tell you the ones that are on my lower scale. And then there's this sweet spot where it's really hard to really choose, like, your favorite child. You know what I mean? It's like...
I agree.
It's so tough. And then, again, pops into my head because I'm smiling about it. I start thinking about, like, Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm like, fuck, man. But there's... You know what I mean? They just...
Guardians is up there for me.
See? And that's the thing. They just did so well with all these... And the best part about it is that they're so different. All the stories are so different. Like, they have the core... of like the certain aspects that they hit on as far as like the morality or like you know yeah, I guess the moral of the story or like their ethics or whatnot, the things that are character based that like define a hero and stuff like that. Those are pretty consistent in all of these. And I think that's the great part that brings them together, that makes the glue of the team, right? Because without all of them having kind of all these different personalities, but with the same like center, they don't work. You know what I mean? And you see that in Civil War, where you know, yes, they're all still good guys, but they're bumping heads on a topic that's in the movie, and then now they have to choose sides for a little bit. But then at the end of the day, it comes back, and they're right back because of everything that unfolds and stuff. But yeah, this is. I had said Iron Man 3 was probably the beginning where you start to see, you know, the whole team coming in and other pieces being added, like Romanoff, and then Tony's getting involved. You see more Fury, and you understand, and you see in Captain Marvel, or in Captain America and Captain Marvel, his kind of brain process and him starting the initiative and like him beginning his writings and all of that stuff, you know? And so it's like, all right, cool. That for me, number 3 in Iron Man was like the beginning of that pivot to really start pulling them in. And then we had Thor come up after, and now we're here. Like where we had some shit blow off. Everybody's like, oh man, there's an outer space and world and intruders that can come. We were just devastated. And now this just blows it out of the water with Avengers and the situations. And this is what literally spirals the team to come together. And then from here on out, they have to find a way to make it work for the greater good. And you know, egos get involved, you know, different mentalities and mindsets. You know, even, like I said, even though they all have kind of the same compass to a certain extent in, you know, the pursuit of what they want to do, they just have different ways of going about it. With Tony's brain power and his ego, Banner's, you know, adjustment that he needs to do for his own sake of his powers, but he still understands certain things that Tony wants to do and has the intellect to do it. You got people like Hawkeye and Captain America who are just driven by that one internal notion of like, we're just here, we got a mission, we're soldiers, we're heroes, we just do what we do. And then you got, you know, I call them Celestials because they're from outer space, but then you have the whole space gang from Thor to, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy. You got Thanos coming down later on and all this other stuff. It's just such a great fucking pulling of all these all-encompassing things that drive these stories. I fucking love it.
I agree. I agree. They pull from great material. They pull from great characters and chose great characters to portray in these certain things, and they have hit the money on every single one. Even the ones that are on the bottom of our lists as favorite movies, they still hit on them. They're still important. There's still things that happen in them that go into the overall story.
Like, so what would you say? Who would you say is at the bottom of the table, bottom of the bar here?
Dark World, the second
Okay.
Thor movie.
Okay.
But also at the same time that introduced the ether, that gave us the introduction of the collector and the soul, and that was the first time we heard about the Infinity Stones. So in the sense of the Dark World being on the bottom of my list, it was still important along with the storyline.
And that was something that we brought up, that no matter what, even if, like I say, hey, there's this movie's at the bottom of my list for rating or whatnot, it still doesn't subtract from how great the movies are or just how important they
Yeah.
are, because they all have enough of something that plays a role in the whole big picture
Yep.
that makes it so worthwhile.
Let me be clear too. If Dark World was on right now, I'll minus doing this, but if like say I was sitting on the couch and Dark World was on TV, I'd still stop and watch the whole thing. Like I still love it, you know.
Yep.
But it was one of those ones, and that was actually another funny thing, and I hopefully we'll bring it up later on when it comes to this Avengers stuff. But there was something about Loki that happened in Avengers that we didn't find out until the Dark World.
Yep.
That we actually found out in Avengers.
Yep.
In this movie.
Yeah.
Now I'm recalling. And every episode, there's these moments that I have that, like, I'm like, wait, oh, snap. Like, and that's the great part about this. We're talking about almost 20 years of filmmaking. We're talking about people like you and I that have seen these things. I mean, how many times have you seen all these movies, Chuck?
I mean, realistically, I've probably seen every single one of these at the very least, if I want to say at least 10 times, even for the ones on the lower ones. The things like Infinity War, Endgame, Guardians, Avengers, I've seen 50, 60 times. I mean, I've watched these things so much. They are so much fun to watch.
And I've seen them at least 5 times. So it's like, I'm over here like, yeah, man, I put in the work. Chuck's like, motherfucker, please.
I watch these
like,
things all the time. I go to bed. I like when I go to bed, I'll put on a Marvel movie and fall asleep to it, on Disney
That's
Plus or something.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know that's like Kyle with Iron Man 2. He said that's when he'll frequent a lot. Like he likes the whole Marvel thing, but he was like, that's one I'll just put on like laying down and going to bed. And he's like, I don't mind if I fall asleep to it because I know it so freaking well.
Yeah.
I get that. And for me, I haven't seen the whole thing yet. I've seen movies here and there. So now I'm just like, all right, now I'm watching it in the correct order that we're supposed to be watching it. I'm going through it. So I'm doing the
chronological.
Yes, sir. And my wife loves it. Like she already did this once, and now she's doing it again. Well, probably a few times. Now she's doing it again with me, and she just like, she's like, we watched this. We finished Avengers this morning, and she's like, I'm ready to watch the next one. I was like, that's not until next. We gotta wait till next weekend. We gotta wait.
Yeah, right.
And that's the thing.
Space them out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said on the last episode, if you haven't gone, check that out. That's Thor, and then all the ones after that, including the one shots on my page on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Just go check them out. But yeah, it's like they're so good to the extent that they're like, it doesn't even matter how long they are. Like if these movies were fucking 5 hours long, I'd still be sitting through these things as long as they kept, the same storytelling and pacemaking. Like I would not care. And to sit here and go through, because I went crazy, Chuck. I literally within like, I don't even know, like a week went through and was watching them bang, 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 as much and as fast as I can a couple months ago. And it wasn't.
That's fun.
It wasn't bad. Like I couldn't even get through Lord of the Rings. That's 3 movies. You know what I mean? This was 60 hours worth of movie watching that I had no problem doing, but yet I can't do like 12 hours like for a story like that or like, and it's.
I'm not to say that Lord of the Rings. Yeah, and you're not to say that Lord of the Rings. Like I love Lord of the Rings too, but there's dull moments in these movies with Lord of the Rings. There's traveling time where there's just dialogue going on. With the Marvel movies, there's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of character development, but the continual action or the continual on the edge of your seat or, the story moving forward is constantly going on to a point where a 3-hour movie feels like an hour and a half.
Yep.
What I really love what they do with these movies, like Avengers and all that, is that I love how they'll always show something in the movie that's just something small. You may think it's insignificant, and then later in the movie, boom, there it is, blowing some shit or something crazy. I was like, oh fuck, where's that little piece at? Oh, I left it at the house. Like just something small, and I love when film does that because it shows that they're really, really like just attention to detail, and that
man,
little insignificant things that you think they're insignificant, you're like, yes, fuck yeah. Oh, okay, this is why for that 5 minutes in the movie that you might think like, why are they showing us? It's pointless, and it comes back and like, oh shit, now I like that part even more because it actually makes sense. It actually makes sense.
So many little Easter eggs and tie-ins, and that's the thing. Like I said, I just keep having realizations about different aspects of different episodes, and then different things that come up later on in some of the other movies. But besides that, the newest content that we have with WandaVision, Hawkeye, Loki, Winter Soldier, and was it Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Which again, like, if I had enough time to get everybody to go through all those episodes and do them, I'd be doing them if I could, like episodically, just to go through. But I don't. So I'm some of those I'm not even gonna touch. I figure once we get to that point, we'll talk about the series as a whole, just so that condense it all down, so that we're not making 15 episodes a piece, because we'll be here forever, especially with newer seasons coming out. So it's like we gotta try to limit just how much, because it'll drain us all. It will drain me for sure.
But even talking about what you were just talking about before with the new content, like even the Hawkeye, how Kate Bishop was saved, and that plays into what was going on in this Avengers movie, and how Hawkeye was, it literally goes screen for screen and intertwines with what's going on in this specific movie, which was awesome.
Yep.
They do such an amazing job with that. And again, DC, you could have did this. You could have did this with The Flash, and you could have did this with Arrow on the CW network. Just tied those into the movies. Use those same characters, those same cast into all those movies. The Legends movie, all that could have been movies. Boom, there you go. You have to start up because right there with the series, what they did, you have the character development already building up. Boom, 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 boom. All the big shit can happen in the movies, like all the really, really big, deep, where you're just like, oh shit, you could have made a few movies of that, and then just grew the Justice League like that. That's how you could have. As a matter of fact, that's how you could have started the Flash in the Justice League. That's how you could have started Arrow and all those other side characters. You already have you could have just boom, have a Batman movie, maybe mention him in the shows, but never show him in the shows. He's never in the shows, and boom, he's in a movie.
And then boom. The thing I don't understand, they've already had such a following from it. They already had such a grown fan base for 6-8 seasons for these different shows that I don't understand why they just didn't fucking cut Amell a paycheck. Why they didn't just cut Grant a paycheck. Like, we love Barry fucking Allen in that show. We love fucking McQueen in that show. We love fucking Diggs. We love Sarah. We loved fucking, Adam. Like, there's so many people that you already got us hooked onto. You already got us vested in. You already got us attached to. And then you go, hey, we're going to put out some movies, and we're just going to use people you've never seen, you don't connect with, you have no clue, and we're going to start their stories again. It makes no sense.
Even Supergirl wasn't bad. Like, it took a little bit for me to get you, but after I watched a few episodes, like, yo, this show ain't bad at all. And then when they did all the
got a Martian that you built up. You took like fucking 4 seasons to even tell us he was the goddamn Martian.
And then you just threw it all in garbage. Wasted time, basically. Because that could have been a great fucking, from the series to a movie to the Justice League. Yeah, Justice League.
Justice League.
The Justice League and all this other stuff. Maybe in another lifetime, guys, will get it right.
This in an alternate universe.
Yeah, in the multiverse over here. Fucking this movie's just dragging us out because this is just that one whole fucking stew of superheroes, and it's like we got 2 camps of the same shit, and just one's so much just better. It's so bad, and I wish I could have a conversation with like comic heads. You know what I mean? That like have collected for years and years and years, and get them to sit in a room and just go at it. DC versus Marvel, because they're both going to be like, mine is better, this is better, this is why this is good, this is crazy, you just stole this from us, you got this from... And I just want to be the fly on the wall, just recording this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you.
see who throws the first punch. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, fuck. You know, it's probably gonna be the dude with the Superman curl, and then versus the dude in the Hulk costume.
Yeah, right.
Hilarious. None of them can fight either. What the hell's going on here? Knock it off, guys. Stop.
So, with this movie, the Avengers or whatnot, we go back to, you know, the team being formed. We got the huge involvement of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. I mean, they show their technology, they show how and where they're getting this technology from, and it loops back to the Thor movies with the one doctor that was working with Kate, working on the Tesseract as the power source and trying to get shit going. It opens with, you know, all this mayhem happening with Loki and the situation occurring, which at the end of Thor, you see that after he fell into the hole, he let go of the staff that Odin and Thor were holding. He falls into the hole, and somehow he ends up on Earth and mind controlling this doctor that S.H.I.E.L.D. just pulled in. So he's right back in the mix of where he wanted to be and trying to have the power and do what he wants to try to... What is Loki's goal, honestly? Is he trying for, like, universe domination? Is he trying to be Thanos at this point? Or is he just trying to, like... I don't even think he knows what he's trying to do at this point. Is he trying to just rule Asgard? Is he trying to take over Earth? Is he trying to just be a destroyer? Is he just trying to have fun? Like, what the fuck is Loki's, like, game plan at this point? It just seems like it's just so many different avenues. He doesn't know what he wants. He just doesn't know what he wants.
I think, you know, getting that army of the Sikaari and taking over Earth was step one. And I think that you're probably right. He had so many ideas and so many things, be it the God of Mischief, that he would have just gone on to move and do something else, or, you know, keep control of this and be the king of, and create like what he would consider a new Asgard on Earth, which eventually ends up happening anyways.
Where was that? Finland or some shit?
Yeah, I think so. Like Iceland or something, maybe.
I can't wait till we get to that too, because that's a whole nother thing. All right, so does anybody have a gripe with this movie in the character designs, with their costumes? Because this movie changed everything as well. Captain America's suit was different. Fucking Thor's suit was completely different. We didn't... Well, Romanoff was still in the black, barely, in Iron Man. So I guess you can't say she changed much. Fury didn't change. Iron Man's still Iron Man, but he's at, what, revision 30 by now? You know what I mean? With all his different things. I'm trying to think who else. Fucking Hulk can't change. He's just the Hulk. Hawkeye. Although he changed persons.
Yes.
In this movie, he's a completely different person.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I had a gripe with the costumes per se. I think that, you know, the one thing Marvel has been pretty good with, even if they start off with a certain, you know, like a more like prototype, you know, costume, they eventually get like Scarlet Witch. She eventually gets to the Scarlet Witch costume, you know, even in the Daredevil movies, which weren't canon until, you know, they bought them up. You know, Daredevil started with, you know, or Spider-Man even started with the hoodie and everything, and then they eventually get to the, you know, the Iron Spider suit and stuff like that. So I think that they've been pretty consistent with their costumes and everything. And in this Avengers movie, I think that they stay true to the majority of the characters.
Okay. So I feel like they looked a little too plastic.
Right? Yes. Yeah, like that I will agree with. They were bright. Like Captain America's blue is so blue.
It's the so star blue on his chest and the silver things, they just look like they're sitting there, like they were like fucking velcroed on, and just like, sorry, I'm just digging here a little bit because there's so much good to say. So I gotta at least talk about some of the bad points.
I hear you. And then
what I do like though is how they improve later on.
Even later
absolutely.
And all that, which
Infinity War Endgame cap suits, awesome.
Yeah, so like the scene behind Sturdy there, Thor looks okay there, but when they're on the ship and like it just the pieces look bulky and not as natural or real as like the Thor from the first movie. Like I thought they did a fantastic job on his armor, on his chest plates and stuff like that. Like they didn't look like they were oversized or bulky or anything. But then this one seems like they tried to make everything a little bit more defined and make them look a little bit bigger superhero-y in this a little bit. So then they deviated back towards kind of the let's keep them looking natural type feel by the end of this whole thing and everything like that. Like even Captain America, like they accentuate his biceps in certain spots. You can see the cuts on the shoulder of Thor there, and his forearms even have divots in them on the armor. It's like, bro, come on. Like, if you're wearing armor, it's not going to conform to your muscle mass shape. Like, you know what I mean? You're not...
Yeah, right.
But yeah, super... Like I said, these are the gripes that I have. And this is the shit that's funny to me, because if you're going to have gripes about something, it's got to be something as minuscule as this if it's so good. And you keep telling people this is fucking good material. Like, I got nothing else to nitpick at. I'm boss right now. And you're the fucking employee that does everything great. I gotta find something to try to make you better on. Like, all right.
Nothing's perfect.
Yeah, this movie, it was your costume designs. But you fixed it. Good job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had to say something.
I agree with that.
Fucking
I can see it. I can see it. It just does. I mean, I could see it, but it doesn't really bother me. Like, it wasn't that bad, I guess. It wasn't that bad.
No, you're right. It wasn't that bad. They kept true to the comics, but at the same time, you're right. Like, they did look plasticky. They did look like, you know, they were bright and bold colors as opposed to more of like the subdued or the dull beat up suits or whatnot. I think that later on they do become much better.
Yeah, and I'm sure they heard about it from people when they did this, and kind of first they tried to like have it all prettied up, and then they're like, you know what, we gotta do it the right way. We gotta fix this, guys, and we're gonna fix it. And they did. They did.
I mean, with characters like Brenner and like Black Widow and shit, it's like, yo, simple works. Like, let's not go crazy. Let's not go over the top. And I think that's what they were trying to do, honestly, is because you have people that have superpowers and are elevated, right? So they have to look and be to differentiate from the other people that are on the team, like Hawkeye and like Black Widow or whatnot, who don't exactly have powers, but their skill and their intellect is their power, right?
Yeah.
And then you got this big ass massive green fucking thing behind him that all you got to do is fucking piss him off, hit him with a Nerf dart in the eye, and next thing you know, he's fucking Hulk smashing Chitauri out of the sky against buildings and shit, taking out half of New York.
Grabbed the nephew, did the Loki slam to him yesterday. Boom, 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 boom. Go to bed.
That was the best part of the whole movie.
Oh god, dude! I remember still being in the theater when it got to that point, and just all of a sudden just stopped to mid conversation and just, dude, I was fucking rolling.
I know I didn't see a lot of these in theater. I believe we did go to see this one, and that was one of the parts where the whole theater was laughing.
Oh,
it's unexpected.
Yep.
It's just completely unexpected.
Ragdoll, absolute ragdoll. You know, he's just getting flung around.
I wonder if they went through a couple different instances of choices that they did, because they could have been just a quick poof, like punch, and he just goes flying, knocked out. They did the ragdoll that he could have kicked them, or he could have just smashed them, like.
And at that point, you hate Loki. Like, the one good thing about Marvel cinematic movies is that the character development and the story arc is for these characters are great, because, you know, as we sit here now, I think we totally look at Loki differently than when we watched this movie for the first time, and you're just like, he deserved that, you know? And now you're sitting here like, you know, Loki's he's not half bad, you know? And it's just like, but at the time, he was well deserving of that ragdoll beating.
Oh, yeah. And it's crazy that you say that, too, because after watching the series Loki, I look at him completely different now as well.
Completely different.
Completely different. See, this is what I'm saying. And so, like, for the viewers, if you don't know, so we're at, like, the first quarter of the Marvel universe here, right? First fifth, maybe. And then we're talking about something that's related in the last quarter of it. So it's like, and it all relates back, it all comes back, but then even then still we're talking about these characters and how things are changed, or how our thought process on them changed, or how their behaviors have done something that alters certain, like, that's so freaking dope. This is one of those things that's like as close to like how complicated life actually is with certain things. And like, you know, we've all seen superheroes and villains where there's moments where villains have to side with the good guys and good guys have to side with the bad guys to your enemy's my enemy type shit. But there's just so much more that goes behind a situation like that comes up when it's like okay, something's here right in front of us, we got to do it, to like shit happening without them even being around or involved with each other, that then develops and changes, that makes it kind of coincide and fall in line. And then like it's going to be interesting to see if they ever do, Loki ever has to have engagements with these guys again, or with the next Avengers or whatever, how it all plays out, because Loki's still not gone. Spoiler.
Nope.
Loki's not gone, and it doesn't seem like Loki's gonna be gone for a while. So
Loki's in fact become more important.
Yeah. Loki has become even more important, and honestly more important than I thought it was gonna be. And I was a little beside myself at first, and like, God damn, is this necessary? But then as I keep going through and I keep talking about these things, it just makes me go, all right, like chill the fuck out, like chill out, chill out. It's gonna work out. It's gonna play out, and I'm getting to the point that you can't just expect things. You can't just, like, you can have your notion, you can have what you think is going to happen, but more than likely it's not going to be what plays out and how it unfolds, because you're going to be way off kilter with the way they're doing these things and the way they tell these stories and the way they're doing a great job at still making these original, but using the source material and keeping us all engaged for decades now.
It couldn't be said any better.
I love I love the back and forth with Thor and Hulk, especially once later on in the movies too, where they become cooler, but they just love to fight each other. Like in this, they beat all them robots and shit, and Thor just comes out of nowhere. Thor gets punched in the face by a Hulk when they're standing by each other. I'm like, what the fuck? And my wife pointed out, she's like, Hulk could always do something so nice, but just has to be an asshole right after. Like when Iron Man's falling out the sky, he jumps up, catches him, lands on the ground, and just throws him off. Like, fucking get off me!
Screams in his face.
Yeah. He's just so much angst in him.
Right? Just make Hulk Hulk. Yep. The secret is he's always angry, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
That's what he says at the end. He's like, "That's my secret. I'm always angry," and then he punches that Sakari thing out of the air.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so we got the whole battle going on. Hulk's released in the ship with Shield or whatnot. He gets pissed off. Romanoff is trying to get him to calm down because she seems to be the Hulk whisperer. Which, how and when did that come up? Because they don't really say that. It just kind of happens. Unless I don't recall correctly, but like it's just magically.
I think it's just from the conversations they had throughout, and then like when he was changing, how she was still trying to talk. She was talking to him as a human and not as a monster, and she kind of kept through it that here and there. So I feel like that's why it kind of went like that.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Well, he also destroys a lot of the helipad going after her in this too.
Well, he does.
It's like in between here and Age of Ultron is where somehow we missed translation of Bruce Banner and Black Widow having some sort of relationship.
And not for nothing, we're okay with that, even though like it brings up that question and a notion. So you just got to put in your head, at some point they smashed on the side. Like
at some point, you know. They have something on the side that, is not suitable for the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point.
which if we're going to go there, which we don't have to, but I just want to know, how did she take a Hulk smashing?
Because he wasn't angry then.
How did it fit? Okay, how did it fit? She's got a Stargate for a nana.
They're not, but there was nothing.
She's a Skrull. She's a Skrull.
She's a shapeshifter.
There's nothing for him to be that angry about at the time, so you just Bruce Banner then.
Yeah, it could have been just Bruce. He's in a happy place at that point.
Yeah, now you cock block him, the Hulk comes out and beats the hell out of you.
Or until they're in the moment and she just fucking smacks him harder!
Right in the middle, she grabs his palm and it's like, "It's getting a little dark outside."
Yep. Oh my God.
I'm sorry. It's getting a little dark outside.
Whoops. Too far. Hey, once you get that angry.
Shit. Definitely it could be on Disney Plus.
There's a hub that holds that kind of stuff.
That? I'll go check it out later. We'll do a review on it next time. Shit, I can't stop. All right.
See what we did?
Hey, it is something to think about. It's definitely something to think about how this happens.
It just made me laugh. Anyway. So who's your least favorite Avenger in this, Charles?
Hawkeye.
In all of the
Hawkeye.
series or just in this?
Just in this one, I think, because, you know, you had him in Thor and he was like, you know, like almost a little bit of an antagonist trying to keep Thor away from the hammer and everything like that. So you get his first introduction. In the beginning of this movie, he pretty much becomes a villain when he gets tapped by Loki and is on that side. And you don't really have Hawkeye's full, you know, story arc at all, if it's including his family or if it's including the TV series of, you know, what transpired up into that. So I feel like the development of that character going into this movie wasn't as big as all the other characters. So I think that would, and it's not to any, you know, any gripe of the actual character in the movie, because I think that, you know, by the end he holds his own when it comes to the New York fight. Mm-hmm. But everyone else was more established and their characters were more established than his was going into this movie.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. I'm gonna have to agree with you all the way across the board on that. Same answer, Hawkeye, and might as well just use your reasons too, because he's just like, you don't really know him. You didn't get to get attached to him at all, not even a little bit, really. I mean, a tiny bit, like you said in Thor, but not to the point of where it's just like I care about this character, like how you care about Thor, how you care about Iron Man, of course, Black Widow, even the brief part she was in, and she's fine as hell. Yeah, and he's like
and we had in this. Even with Hulk, I mean, he makes reference when Banner's making reference to him busting up New York City already in this movie. And that's reference to Edward Norton's movie when he was fighting, you know, Abomination in New York City. And he said he left it to dust or something like that. Yeah. And so, like, even he had, you know, even Mark Ruffalo himself didn't, but the character himself as Hulk and Bruce Banner had a character arc going into this.
And then, I mean, on top of that, just people, if you know this, like, if you've never even seen the Hulk movies, but you see in the cartoons or whatever, if you know who the Hulk is, you're never mad when you see him. Like, you're never angry seeing the Hulk, especially as good as it looked in these movies, like in this Avengers movie and so on. You're just like, it looks fucking awesome, so you're not even mad about it at all. Not even a little bit. But Hawkeye is just like, you just feel like he's just one of those, like Coulson I like better than Hawkeye.
Yeah, they almost made it. They kind of let it. I think what happened was, honestly, is that they included him obviously because he was part of the Avengers and he had a role in the comics and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't think they were going to concentrate or make him as big of a character until this movie came out, and then like the toys and shit started selling, and like the fandom was like, "Yo, Hawkeye, fucking regular guy, just." You know what I mean? Like, I almost feel like that's what happened. Like, once the following came behind him, then they were like, okay, let's give him more in some of the later movies and stuff like that. Because, yeah, they didn't really explain much. They didn't really set him up much. They didn't make him a pivotal character. Like, he had few moments, one or two little stories. But maybe that was part of the plan from the get-go, just to give just enough things that you're like, this is why he's on the team. This is why he's here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it almost seemed like he was on the cusp, like they were on the fence of him being kind of an important role or whatnot.
You know who he's kind of like, as far as like, because he's not gonna have he has this series, so he's not gonna have a solo movie. He's kind of like and just I'm just talking about like, because you don't he's like he's kind of like Superman in that sense. And the reason why I say that is because when Superman's Clark Kent, nobody really cares. He's fucking boring. Batman, he's a playboy. He's, you know what I mean? Like, there's just something about him. There's that mystique. Fucking Tony Stark, everybody knows. Like, everybody knows he's Iron Man, for one. But I'm just saying, just in general, like, his personality. But for Hawkeye, it's like, we only need him here for the missions. Other than that, we don't really give a shit what he's doing. Superman, same thing. We only need him here for the big fights. Other than that, we don't care what he's doing on the side. And it's kind of, again, completely different. I know people are going to say they're not just completely different types of characters. But at the same time, and you could throw the Hulk in that. Like, yes, Bruce Banner is good in the Avengers and in those movies, but you don't want a Hulk movie because it wouldn't be, like, for what? For what? Even though you enjoy Hulk in these movies a lot, but there's just certain characters that I don't think that they need a movie at all. If they're in a movie with others, like the Avengers, or in, say, a Thor movie, Iron Man, so on and so forth, cool. But other than that, they don't need their own. They don't have that big enough They don't have that big enough interest in them, I guess, as far as their personal lives, so to speak. Then everybody else. That's my opinion.
See, I agree and disagree. Like, I would rather watch a Hulk series or a Hawkeye series like we did than just a Hulk movie, for the simple fact that, like, it brings up a ton of questions about certain aspects of them. Like the Hulk with always trying to battle being angry. Like I said last time, I was like, bro, I want to know if this dude, like, stubs his toes and then breaks half a building. Or if, like, he's doing something that's supposed to be easy, he can't, like, get a jar of pickles open or something. And, you know what I mean? What does he actually have to battle on the daily basis? Like, oh, I'm out of toothpaste! Like, you know what I mean? Like,
all of our frustrations.
You know what I mean? Like, how does he control that? Like, shit like that. And then besides that, just human aspects of interactions and other people's fucking stupidity and shit like that irks people. You know what I mean? Like, how many times a day does this guy have to fight not becoming the Hulk? And then you take somebody like Hawkeye, who's a trained fucking secret operative that literally has kind of like a checkered moment in his life also, but then so much shit he's probably done that ain't even on record and can't be on record. Like, I want to know. I want to see all of that shit. You know what I mean?
The Ronin stuff, yeah.
Besides that, too, but just like his upcoming, and like, how did he get so good with a bow? Why did he choose the bow as his weapon? What was the pivotal point that he became that? How did he become part of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like, I want to know all these things. And that, I think, is where you need the room for episodic shit versus... All right, I got hit with a gamma radiation. Now I can't control my shit. I got to learn to control my shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's tough. It's tough. Especially like Romanoff, when we see, you know, with the movie, with, you know, she gets her own movie, but still, I think would have been a dope character to see her go through different undercover situations. And like, we see her come out in the one movie, she's tied up to a chair and she's being held hostage, being spoken to in like Ukrainian or Russian or some shit. And, like, it looks bad for her, and she gets a phone call through the other guy's phone, and it's for her, and then all of a sudden she's like, but do I have to now? Yeah, and then she just completely flips the script, like, takes him out of the shit, gets the information she needs, and she bounces. Like, I want to see every mission she's on. Like, you know what I mean?
What established her as being, like, the top Black Widow of all the Black Widows.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with that.
No, just
Could you imagine... Going back to the Hulk thing, could you imagine like Bruce Banner being in a car and getting road rage, and then just
I was gonna say the same
shit.
but hold up, right? Like say you're going somewhere with your lady, and you don't want to be embarrassed, but you know who Bruce Banner is and the Hulk is. You're just like, you know what? Just get back in the car. Tell you like, let's shut up. Get in the car. Let's go. My bad. Talk to me like that. Yes, I am.
Yes, I am.
Because as soon as he gets mad, that's a Hulk. That's not real.
He has a friend that will be here immediately.
Yes. And I'm not dealing with that.
When I mean immediately, I mean instant.
I thought you weren't afraid of any human. Yeah, but the Hulk ain't human. That's different.
Nope.
That's different. So I can't even call my boys to jump him.
No. So now, Sturdy, you had brought up Coulson, how you feel like you're more interested in him. And so how did you feel at this point in the movie now where Coulson dies?
Like at that point, you knew is when shit was going to change. Like, yo, because Coulson was like the dude just everywhere. He's just everywhere. Everybody loved him. You had your back and forth jokes with Tony, of course, but he still loved him. And then that, like, once that went down, they were just like, yo, we got to fucking... It was what they... He even said it himself, basically. He's like, yo, just... This is what they need. This is what they need to really bring them together, and it's realistic in the sense
of. How did you feel about that whole situation with him using Coulson's cards from the locker?
I think it was smart. Because it really puts a thing. Because remember when Coulson he interacts with Captain America at one point. I'm a fan of yours. I have cards of yours. And he's like, cards. Like, what do you mean? And then he sees them all bloodied up and shit, and it really hits him like, holy shit, this guy really, like, not only was he doing all this shit with no powers at all, he could fight, but no powers and nothing at all, but he's here trying to help save the fucking world, and he's such fans of ours, and make sure that we're okay, so we got to do this for him. We got to do this for him.
I think that's the important aspect, is that, you know, he was human, and once he died, you know, it almost, you know, they put all their egos aside and realized that, you know, we're fighting for the human race. He had no powers, and he was willing to stand side by side with us, fighting what we don't really know and what was coming through the portal. And he was willing to stand with us through thick and thin, and he was human. That's who we're fighting for.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's realistic in a sense of that's going to make a lot of people fight. Like someone that that always had your back is just something like that happens to him, and you're just like, fuck. And you're one of the people who can fight. You're one of the people who can be a part of this battle. Let's say, you'll be good. Let's go. Fuck this. Fuck this. You took out the wrong person. Fuck it. Like, fuck it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They could have taken out like Hill, and it wouldn't have held as much weight as Coulson did.
I don't even honestly, and this is gonna sound crazy. I feel like the same thing about Hawkeye. They could have taken out Hawkeye, and I don't think it would have been as big of an impact.
Shut your mouth.
I really don't.
I really like him. I really like Hawkeye.
Oh, I do too. I agree with that.
I'm just going from the build up from this Avengers movie and all the other ones, watching in chronological order. You're not really getting that because we've seen Coulson from, we see him in Iron Man, you see him here and there, Thor's hammer,
yep,
and all that. So you get that connection with him versus Hawkeye. You really don't get that.
Yeah, he had more character development up until that point than Hawkeye did.
He did.
Yeah,
he did
by far,
for sure.
By far.
For sure. I feel like that is the one spot that even though that occurred on the ship or whatnot, when he throws the cards, everybody's having that realization. It's super dope to see that everybody else is still having kind of that moment of reflection and just like, oh shit. At different places, at different times. You got Hulk down on Earth through an abandoned building. You got Thor going to find his hammer. He's pissed, and you can tell like it hit him. And he didn't even get to that point yet of that realization or that situation. You know what I mean? So it's cool to also see people thinking differently, but still on the same line and still understanding the gravity of the situation. Without having the same catalyst to get them there. You know what I mean? They all didn't need to see, the cards from Coulson. They're all going through and have their own different thought processes and what they're dealing with, and then how they're all coping with what the fuck just happened, which was essentially they got the shit kicked out of them. Like, they got their asses handed. So it's super dope. And then you see the shit with this is where you really get the development of Hawkeye, where he's a little bit more humanized, where he's in the recovery thing, and he's like, "Fuck, I did what?"
Then he asked how many agents, and she was like,
we're not gonna go there. It wasn't you, you know what I mean? But still, to the person, it's whether you're in a war situation or not. It's like, yo, I still did this. I still had to do this. You know what I mean? But this is a situation where you were completely out of control. Like, you know what I mean? Like, God forbid they come up with actual like brain control shit, which. They say there is shit out there and has been used many a times for different things, but it's just dope to see like that connection between him and Romanoff. Their best friend shit. This is really the first time you really get to see their whole best friend thing, which you still question, like, did they have something? Did they not? And then you find out later he's got a family and all this other stuff. So it's like, but yeah.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, these are those moments where I think things happen on screen with the action and all that stuff, and then these cooldowns that let you kind of absorb and then show like consequence and show the human aspect of it. Because nobody ever stops to think for real, which these movies tend to point out at sometimes just how destructive a hero is. Like,
oh yeah,
like, yo, we're trying to save the world, but we fuck some shit up in the process. My bad. It's what had to happen. Like, we couldn't control how this was going down, but we took care of that for you. And then you got to come up with the shit that happens with the Accords and all that shit. Well, since you fucking destroyed half these cities in the process of you fucking saving us all, it's like, yo, you can't have your cake and eat it too, no matter what. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, then you had the cleanup crew from Spider-Man: Homecoming too, when they were cleaning up all that stuff. They're still cleaning it up.
It's true. It's true. This and then this is where you really start to get the dynamic between Tony Stark and Captain America.
Yep.
And where, I mean, they set it up that way where these two are always like looking at each other and talking to each other. So they're like the alphas of the group. So they're like commander and assistant commander, but they're no one knows who's the actual commander.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody knows who's the actual fucking leader
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I guess it's arguable, right?
What it is, I was gonna with that because like there's times where Captain will take Tony's lead. There's sometimes where Tony will just take his lead, and people are more surprised when Tony lets somebody else take the lead. They're just like, "What the fuck? Like you cocky egomaniac, you're gonna let somebody else take the lead?"
And that's where it's kind of cool because they show like there ain't no I in team type situation, right? But at the same time, there's still the dynamic of the power struggle occurring, even though they're still fighting on the same sides. And then this comes out really big into play in Winter Soldier and in Civil War and stuff like that. But still, it's like so. Chuck, who would you say is the leader of? Would you say there's even a single leader of the Avengers? You're muted.
Can't hear you.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, good. At this point,
yep.
I think that going into it, I think that Nick Fury wanted kind of Cap and Iron Man to kind of figure that out between the two of them and who it was going to be. Especially when it came down to the turbine breaking and everything like that, them stepping up and I think that, it was perfectly done in the fact that by the end, it looks like Cap becomes the leader, but Tony is the, like we said, the bankroll and the hero of it when push comes to shove and he goes up and takes care of that business up at the portal and then comes back down. I think that, that leads up to what happens in Infinity War and Endgame and, the whole dream sequence that he has. I think that the responsibility of the leader of the Avengers has always been split between Cap and Iron Man.
Which is kind of dope so that there's not just one and they can play off each other, but there's still always that headbutt, you know what I mean? But that's life. That's what happens with people's egos and their separate mentalities and stuff like that.
Well, even with the Accords and Civil War, you kind of look at both of their perspectives and realize that they're both right. There is no wrong side to that Civil War. It's unfortunate that it has to come down to these superheroes and how they believe in it and what the government is expecting from the superheroes. But both of them are right in every regard. And at that time, I thought it was great with marketing. It's like Team Iron Man or Team Cap. But that really shows that both of them were truly the leaders of the Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
But then we always got to remember there's always somebody up above that's just looking down, and that's the Nick Fury. You know what I mean? That's the Nick Fury. He's the actual puppet master, and he displays that here with the cards, with the shit with Coulson. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, you guys are here, but I'm gonna do something to make this occur or get you guys to do this. There's always that one overseer, that one manipulator, and it's always Big Brother of some capacity. It's the eye in the sky. In this case, it's literally them flying in the sky. It's their fucking, their whole hella fucking thing.
Nick Fury's such a great character, though.
He is. I think Samuel Jackson does a great job. Great job as Nick Fury in these movies. Like, it's super dope. What's that?
I don't know what happened.
Your snap camera fucked up.
It did.
Were you wearing something tonight?
I had the Thor thing going. It's just because I have a background.
Gotcha. Oh, that's a filter from Snapchat?
I don't know. I use the thingy Snapcam on here.
That's
I don't know
awesome.
if it's from Snapchat or what.
I keep forgetting to get that so I can be different superheroes and different people and villains and shit. But I'm trying to think. So Nick Fury, fucking Samuel L. Jackson. I think he does such a great job in this role, especially for the facts of like what we know Sam Jackson to be, either some type of a rowdy dude or super serious, like, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like the stereotypical type shit that he did for so long. And then, we've had other examples of him doing different things in movies, but this one is the most consistent. This is the most, like, even him as Mace Windu, that was a little bit out of place, but at the same time it worked, and he did all right with it. But that wasn't completely his fault either in that whole series. The writing and shit like that was just a little bit off in those Star Wars, but yeah, neither here nor there. But for him to take this role, be in it for so long, keep so consistent, age over time, and just still, I I say it all the time. He's one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood and unappreciated for tons of different things. You know what I mean? So he's dynamic. As much as you can say, well, he's no Denzel, he's no this, that, or the third. That's okay. Again, just like the lower scale of these Marvel movies, that does not take away from how great he is.
Oh yeah,
he is great.
He's amazing.
There's some fun fact about Samuel L. Jackson is that he's been in the most grossing movies of all time. He's been in, how do I put this? It's like if they took the actors and how much each one of their movies made, he stands alone in being the top actor that's grossed the most money, because he's been in most of the, a good amount of these Marvel movies, but take it that, he's been in so many other franchises. He's been around for so long, been in some cult classics like Pulp Fiction and a whole bunch of other different things. Like it's that truly takes what you said, Chris, and puts into perspective of how underrated he is. If he's been in this many movies, grossing that much money,
and he
should have at least a few
the ultimate accolade of a movie actor, of a movie star. Like it's annoying to me. It frustrates me, but at the same time, Sam knows, because of his pockets and the shit he does and what the numbers generate, he's obviously loved. He's obviously a fan favorite. You know what I mean?
People love him. People like the commercials they have of him with the swearing and all that.
Yeah.
When they were yelling at him because my kid watched your movie and blah blah blah. And he said, "You let your kid watch this movie?" Like,
right?
You.
If you were going to make a remake of Shaft, who else would you have casted?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he was perfect.
Yeah.
He's great. And then he's an amazing Nick Fury. And he has a presence about him. Like, if the movie needs to be serious, like if he has to have serious moments in this, he's serious. If he has to be funny in this, he's funny. If he has to be like that authoritative figure, he could be all of that in one fucking like role, one scene. He could do all that.
Super dope, because as these movies came out, obviously they were staggered. Well, not obviously, in case you don't know, Marvel set them all out in different phases of like 4 to 6 movies at a time over 10 years or whatever it is. But they were all jumbled in where they were placed in the timeline when they were being released. So you take him as Nick Fury when stuff like this or this movie and all this comes out, the first phase or second phase or whatnot. And then you got later on in the last phase, Captain Marvel comes out, and then he's playing himself as a younger version of Nick Fury with a lighter heart, with a little bit more of a vitality to him that's not as harsher or calloused because of his experiences in S.H.I.E.L.D. and him rising through the ranks of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it's super dope. Like, literally, this guy has made himself Nick Fury for the last 15, 18 years. So it's crazy to see that even later in time, as these all came out and he's got popularity for playing the character, they can then make him go back and he can fit the bill for being like, yo, you're still playing this character, but give me 20 years earlier, give me 25 years earlier, and he even played off the whole like, I'm not as, like, so space lady. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where are you from? Yeah. Like, oh, okay, we're looking for somebody who's dressed for laser tag. The shit with the cat.
Yeah.
Oh, the cat had me dying. Kitty. Because you don't expect it to be like that at all. It's like and that's not even Nick Fury. That was just Sam Jackson in general. It's like, oh, look at the kitty. I was like, what the hell? I was dying. I first see. I was like, what the hell?
Oh, I love how they teased, like, during Captain Marvel, everything about Nick Fury's eye and like how it was going to go down. Like, I loved how they did that, and they could only do that if they brought it back to him being young.
Yep.
And then, like, I don't know if you know this or not, but I brought it up when we were doing Captain Marvel. But the whole scene where they got the Skrull body on the table in the autopsy room. And fucking him and Coulson are talking about it, and then like Coulson leaves or whatever, or him and the doc, and then he just lifts the blanket up to look underneath, and he's like, huh. Like, and that was ad-libbed. He just did that in the moment, and it stuck, and they kept it in the film. Like, that's the shit that comes with experience. That's the shit that comes from somebody who's just comfortable enough to be like, I got this. You know what I mean? And just like, all right, well,
And that's the perfect thing about all of the Marvel castings that they do, is that they bring in, first and foremost, they bring in like great names to take on these characters, and then give them the leeway of being able to ad lib and improv and do whatever, like you were just saying, or like Robert Downey Jr. adding in a few lines, or you know, whatever it may be. It's like you got the actors that you wanted, and you know that they can do this. That let them make the character, and that's exactly what Samuel L. Jackson does. Is he makes that character, and he like those subtleties. Those subtleties are what gives, you know, the whole stability of the character. You know, you wouldn't believe it if he didn't have those little subtleties.
Yeah, you get more of a personality, you get more of a feel of an understanding of them, of what kind of person they are as a person, you know what I mean? Because everybody, when you're in battle mode, you're in war mode, you're strategizing, you're doing what you got to do, you're inflicting damage, you're watching your back. But then when you got the dialogue and the interactions, or just moments where it's chill for a minute, and then you see somebody do something that's normal, or like, you know what I mean, like, because the
comic relief of it too.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It just chills you for a minute, it lets you breathe, and then it also gives you a little bit more into the sight of, all right, they chill, they're a little bit, they're human, they have, you know, other emotions, and like, you know what I mean, like serious when you need to be serious. But they do a great job. And again, I bring it up pretty much almost every episode. Like half of these characters and half of these the character castings, they were like not really all that known. They were semi up and coming for some of them, and some of them were just, you know, they did the casting, they played the role, they looked decent enough to close to the character, you know, as far as the source material, and they do a great job, you know. And that's one of the reasons why I like Hawkeye, is because, you know, his look, the cowlick, the eyes, all that shit, it's like it's as close to a real life rendition of Hawkeye that you can get. You know, you got Chris Evans, who had to like transform himself for, you know, Captain America, and actually become this character. Not for nothing, like, he just sold it. I mean, from the rip, even the CGI little guy before he became Cap, he's acting and they're CGIing him on top of it, but he just sold it. Like, they just do it. Gosh, she's so fine. Anyway,
and we're really lucky in the fact that, you know, Kevin Feige and everyone was willing to give Chris Evans a second shot at a different character coming off of Fantastic Four. There would have been question on whether or not, you know, that could happen, and he nailed it, you know. And you have certain other situations with the casting, like for me, for like Jeremy Renner, right, as Hawkeye. Up until this movie, and even a little bit of the beginning of this movie, I feel like Jeremy Renner was like typecast as a bad guy in every single movie that he was in at that point, you know? And it was like, I just wanted something to like him in. And by the end of this movie, you like Jeremy Renner, and going forward, you love Jeremy Renner. And now you look at Jeremy Renner as an actor totally differently than like prior to, when he was like in SWAT and like all this other stuff where he was like always the bad guy, you know, he's the bad guy in the house, even in a comedy. But it was like, finally you got something where you could get behind him. And that was one of the other reasons why I love the casting of Jeremy Renner.
And I can't wait for you, Sturdy, to see Hawkeye, the series, because it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He is so human. He is so human in that. It's so great. It really, like, it was probably, it's hard to say this, but I can't believe I'm about to say it. Hawkeye, out of all the TV Disney Plus series so far, was my favorite. And I liked all of them. And Loki is really important.
Right.
Like really, really important. But Hawkeye was still my favorite.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that 100%. For sure. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to see, because it's so good. It's so good. And it's again, dives back into the humanality of it, because it's super easy to see, you know, the serum generated Captain America go beat the shit out of things, get his ass kicked, be out of breath, but then he's all right. He's back too. Like, he doesn't need that downtime. He doesn't need the recovery time. He doesn't need, you know what I mean? Iron Man, he can get fucked up, and even though he's bruised and he's fucked up, the damage is still not as bad as, because the suit takes the brunt of it. Hulk gets fucked up, and once he's back to human, he's not broken. He's not battered and beaten. You know, fucking Thor's Thor. there's no way to fucking hurt Thor without hurting Thor like kaputty. Like, you can fuck him up, you can beat him up, he'll go down, he'll take a break, and then he still has his power, he can still shoot electricity, he still has his hammer. But you fuck up Jeremy Renner or Black Widow, these motherfuckers need a week. Like, they get broken ribs, guess what? They're fighting in the next scene, and it still hurts. Like, you know what I mean? They still have to be fucking on top of the game amazingly while still being fucked up. There ain't no time for them to be like, I'm good. Like, nope, I just gotta go. Like, it is what it is. And then as soon as that shit's all done, stitch me up. Because they bleed, they're human, like, you know what I mean? And it's like, fuck, I need a minute. Like, I need a minute. And I love that. I love that.
And I think the thing that happened in Hawkeye, when you watch it without giving anything too much away, is that, you know, there becomes a fanhood for Hawkeye because he's human and everyone can relate to him. And going right into the first episode, he essentially creates Kate Bishop. He, because of certain things that happened in this movie and the fight that happens in New York City, it creates the inspiration for Kate Bishop to do what she does.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
It's amazing.
I'm down there more, but I'll definitely check it out.
I'm glad also they kind of got back to a little bit more of the original feel for his costume from the comic books. Like you said, they do a good job at coming back to it. So, yeah, in the Hawkeye series, it definitely looks more like the comic book Hawkeye with the purple being more prominent and the black and stuff like that.
That's good.
Yep.
Like, I would love to see a fucking Ronin series, man. Like a short miniseries of him as Ronin and just fucking not giving a shit. It's just like when Batman loses his shit. Like, once Batman fucking, like, year one or whatever, goes crazy and just starts hacking people or shooting people, like, I would love to see that as a series or a movie. And then get him back to the road of his righteousness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking Hawkeye went, no shit. Didn't give a fuck.
I mean, think about that too. Like the scene when, you know, in Infinity War where I think it opens Infinity War if I'm not mistaken, but you know, he's out in the lawn barbecuing with his family, and then they're just gone. And it's like, I can only imagine. And you're right. I want that time period. I want the time period from his family disappearing and him being by himself to, you know, pretty much Black Widow stopping him and be like, we got a plan. We got a plan to get your family back. I want all of that time of Ronin.
Seriously. Hopefully. Are they going to do another Hawkeye series or no? Is this it? Are they going to do another season?
I'm not sure. I would have to look into it. I know that there's rumors of there being a season 2 of Hawkeye. But I don't know if anything's confirmed yet.
I would absolutely love that.
So would I.
He's a badass. The no-look fucking shots, the fucking his toys in there, and that's the, you know, they stretch it a little bit because it's movie, right? It seems like he never runs out of fucking ammo till he runs out of ammo, and they make it a point to show that he's out of ammo. He has to figure something out and go grab another one from somewhere or something. But
yeah,
his gadgets are gotta be the best. Like. And honestly, he's the only one with gadgets. Because not even Romanoff uses gadgets. She just uses bullets and guns and her fists. She's super talented of a fighter and fucking martial artist.
Yeah.
She's
such a manipulator.
Brain power. Exactly. She's got the manipulation and the brain power. She's adaptive in every situation. This dude has...
Let's take into consideration that she definitely is probably one of the only people that one-ups Loki. Like, she was able to get out of Loki why he was on the helipad and everything like that. No one else could do that. He's the Prince of Mischief. If anyone was going to one up him or get one past him, it was going to be her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't even make that realization, but yeah. Yeah. Oh.
That's very true.
She is genius.
She's so good. She's so fine in that suit, I'm not gonna lie. Fucking God, now you got.
Well, the other thing I was going to say about Loki in this movie that I thought was interesting too is that we didn't have the Dark World until after this Avengers movie, and in the Dark World is when we find out that Loki is an Ice King, or an Ice an Ice King, or Ice Giant, an Ice Giant, and in this movie when he's in the cell and Black Widow's talking to him, there's a little screen that shows all the heat that's coming out of that room and everything, and it so happens to be that Loki is not producing any heat at all. So that was the first indication to us that he was an ice beast or ice giant.
They didn't say it in the first Thor when Odin revealed that he was stolen from during the battle.
No, they did.
I thought that all came down in the Dark World, didn't it? I thought that part came out in the Dark World.
They said they did mention it in Thor, but I guess if you're going by when the movies came out, this came out before Thor, right?
No, Thor would have came out first.
Thor came out first because at the end of Thor it says Thor will return in Avengers, and then this came out after later. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now I gotta go back. I could have sworn. Well, maybe you're right. I'll double check though. But yeah, but either way, but
even so, but like they show him not giving off any heat.
Right. That's the thing that's super dope about shit like that. There's all these little things that even if you can not just focus on the dialogue or the imagery in front of you of the people's interactions, there's things around on the screen that are occurring that are helping the story as well. So if you catch those, you go back and you see certain things. Like I kept saying, like I'm waiting to see when we get back later in the series to a certain moment to see if a character re-shows itself. Basically, I'm looking for the cat. So I think you know what I'm talking about. So once we get to that point in space again where we can see where there's a bunch of different things, I'm going to see if I see that cat in some type of a pod or something, or in a cage or something.
Or in the collector's office, in the collector's.
Yep, exactly.
The Flurkin.
Yeah. God, that's so good. Fuck. So we got these guys going through here. They're beating shit up. They got these Chitaris that they're just finally ripping apart, taking out one by one, knocking shit out of the sky. You know, they're in office buildings. They're going through, and then they finally win, and we get started on this whole next wave of the Marvel movies and all this other shit. What do you guys
Great
think?
Start.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? I don't have my thing on me. Oh, I do. What's the next movie in the list that's coming? Is it Thor Ragnar or Thor Dark World?
Dark World, I think.
I just know it's a Thor movie. I don't remember which one. So besides,
because Ragnarok's the third one. So we got the one shot coming next. So that's gonna be item number 47, which I'm looking forward to seeing that next. Then it's Thor Dark World. Then it's Iron Man 3. Okay, so then the next time we're gonna be it's not until May that we get the second Avengers movie. So we got one.
There was a rather big gap.
3, 4, 5. We got 5 more installments of the Midnight Matinee, plus a couple bonus episodes for you guys on the one-shots before we get back to seeing all of these guys on the screen at the same time. That's nuts. And now if you think about that, it's what? 2 years of movies being put out, give or take, before that happens again? They've done such a good job at these. Such a good job at these.
Oh,
I still remember thinking in between that time, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait that long for Age of Ultron. I need another Avengers movie. And now we're sitting here just like, you know, after Infinity War, Endgame, you know, what I consider Avengers 2.0 and Civil War. And you're just like, we got lucky with so many of these movies having so many, you know, either cameos or just, you know, collaborating on the casts from these movies that we have been really spoiled with what they've done and how they put it together.
No, absolutely. See, and that's the thing that's crazy too, is that even though they came out in different progressions for the timeline, like it took us a while to be able to see some of these things, you know, and see these people get back on the screen together. But now if you watch them in chronological order, it's like it doesn't miss a beat, it doesn't miss a step. This is so fucking good. So good.
It really is.
Great.
It is.
What other franchise do you know of that like we're just talking about, where you could have watched it in release date, or you can go back and watch it in chronological order, other than maybe Star Wars?
The Conjuring.
Lord of the Rings, maybe.
If you're in the horror, the Conjuring universe with Annabelle and all those movies, if they connect, which is amazing. Yeah. But what other? There's never gonna be another franchise that has just movies alone over 20 movies, just movies alone that connect the way that these do and so well and do so. But I don't think that's ever gonna be done again.
No.
Which kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. It'd be cool to see that again, but
they're not stopping, so at least they keep on going.
Have 20 years worth of fucking more material that they're staging and planning. I mean, there's like another 30 movies and series that they're already talking about for these next phases over the next like 5-8 years. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah, because let's take into perspective that when this Avengers movie came out that we're talking about, they did not acquire Fox yet at all. Correct. And they did not have the rights to Spider-Man at the time. They did not have rights to any of the X-Men and anything that was being generated from Fox or Sony. And because of certain situations that happened with Fox and Sony, we were able to then put together the whole Marvel comic book character catalog pretty much back together. And now we have, because of that, we have material that can go on forever.
Yeah.
Pretty much. God damn.
Like, because at this point at the time, like I at least I know as a fan, I was sitting here being like, this is awesome. I can't believe how awesome this is. But we'll never have a movie with Spider-Man in it. We'll never have a movie with Wolverine and the X-Men in it. And then come almost 5 or 6 years down the line, we because of, certain situations that happen, Disney getting bought up, or, Disney buying Marvel, and then, certain situations happening with those companies, which, leaves it available for Spider-Man and the X-Men to then get bought out and come over. Mm-hmm. It was definitely something that blew up the cinematic universe more than any movie has. There's so much more catalog now than when this movie came out.
I'm really glad that Sony was able to fucking be smart enough to realize just how big of an impact this was, even though they still hold in the fucking ranks and still hold in the legal shit for Spider-Man and all that shit. But at the same time, they're smart enough to realize that, hey, if we don't work right now with these people and we don't capitalize on this, we're gonna miss the biggest opportunity probably in history of our organization from here, probably forever, that could be.
Yep.
And now they finally got it dialed in where even with the newer movies that they made with Tom Holland, now it all coincides. Now it all in lines. The last one, Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking
Up there with Infinity War and Endgame.
Bro, it is so tough. I was just talking yesterday to one of my peoples, and it's like, he was like, bro, honestly, it's my favorite out of any Marvel movie up to this point. And I'm like, there. Fuck. I'm like, I want to say that, but I can't say that because there's a few others that fall like right in line. But honestly, the entire movie from beginning to end is a nonstop joy. It is a nonstop fucking... Again, the way they're capitalizing on the way they tell a story, the way they're infusing and evoking emotions, the way they're getting people to smile and be sad and have gasp moments, and just like, it's fucking art, bro. It is fucking priceless. Like, and I keep saying this. This is the pinnacle, and this needs to be the reference for anybody who wants to be in the film industry from here on out. This is how you fucking tell a story. This is how you captivate. This is how you make legacy. This is how you keep people engaged and make sure they engage those around them and other people that they bring into this world and their family, and they make them fans, and it's able to support their statements and keep that new generation and the next generation. This is fucking phenomenal. Sturdy, if you haven't seen that Spider-Man movie,
I didn't watch it yet, but I will.
Oh my God.
But that's the thing too. Maybe not yet. Your wife may hate me for this, but maybe not yet, because we're doing this because it falls in line of the timeline of the universe. And for some reason, Marvel and Disney have not added the first two with Tom Holland onto their timeline schedule yet. So I don't know what they're waiting for that, because there's still pieces of that coincide and relate back.
Yeah.
But they haven't officially made it part of their timeline in the timeline yet on the app. But telling you No Way Home is just like, there's so many things and so many beats that aren't missing that just keep going, and it just, like, it does so many things. Like, Shang-Chi was a good feel of the, like, I consider that the torch passing. To me, it's the torch and the relay. It's like, hey, new phase, the Avengers is going to be different, everything's going to be different, new generation, take this and do what you got to do with it. But then Spider-Man No Way Home is like, fuck just that. It's not just the new generation that's ripping. We got you too. We know you here. Come on, bring it in. Bring it in. We got all of you from the last 20 years. Come on. Come on. This is for everybody. Not just the new people. This is everybody. And then watching the trailers for fucking Doctor Strange, the next Doctor Strange movie, the fucking Multiverse of Madness.
When they have already announced, this is the thing that I find crazy about Marvel, that they have confirmed that the Illuminati will be in this. And if they're confirming that, then that's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. Like, that would be huge in any other circumstance of them talking about anything. But if they're already just giving us this and they're confirming it officially, then what else is in this movie that they haven't confirmed yet?
And
that's huge.
And the what if segments fucking like, I thought that was it. I thought that's where it was going to end for all the next surprises, and that was the setup for all this shit. But then after watching Spider-Man and then watching these trailers for fucking Doctor Strange, I'm like, it's like, the only way I can put this is like, everything you know in life is completely wrong. You're about to be enlightened, and you're about to be just fucking the world is flat. It's not actually round. Like, forget everything you ever learned or were ever taught. Everything you ever thought it's the opposite, and you're about to be shown the truth. Like,
yeah, wait till you realize what the eternal timeline is.
It's nuts, man. And then fucking the end of Loki. Like, I was like, okay. So now I'm connecting dots before certain things occur, and now like it just makes me want to watch so much more of these next. I can't wait. We could argue.
Yeah, we can argue that what happens at the end of Loki is probably one of the most important things that's ever happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including the attack from Thanos, or Thanos being teased for God knows how long. Yep. It is as big, if not bigger, than the introduction of Thanos.
But then you throw in also the end of What If with the Watcher and what happens in the fucking time zone or whatever. And then you throw in that, and then you look at multiverse that's coming.
Yep. Like, I'm almost convinced that we're going to see the Supreme Ultron.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh. Bro, and this shit's crazy to think, too, because I'm fucking 35. And
I'm 41. I just turned 41 2 weeks ago.
And I'm super excited. We're over here super excited for the next, like, 15 years, 20 years of our life because of some Marvel movies and some shows that's about to come down.
Something to live for.
But I also think a lot of that and a lot of the excitement, too, is that, you know, we were grown up on theaters, and especially because of COVID and how streaming services has taken it and everything. I think that we have a little bit more giddy or a little bit more excitement than some of the younger generations, because they're like, oh, yeah, you know, it'll be streaming soon. You know, we're like, I'm the first one to go to the theater on the first day or the preview day beforehand because I'm too afraid of people ruining it for me. Like, I'm afraid that the next day it's going to be covered in social media, what's going on. And I don't want that to happen to me. So I get excited about it just as much as you do. Absolutely. It's crazy.
Like, these are ticket sellers for sure. And these are those things that, like, if need be, if I look at the schedule and I'm like, yo, every, like, 3 to 6 months for the next, like, 4 years, we're going to have some type of a Marvel release that starts. Yeah. Then guess what? I'm probably going to end up buying some type of a fucking subscription to a theater or something where I pay the one price a month and I'm going to go and watch these movies, and I'll get a couple movies in on the fillers to get my extra money's worth. But honestly, it pays for itself in just these Marvel movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm not ashamed to admit this. Every Marvel movie that has come out, I have seen in the theaters at least 2 or 3 times.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Every single one of them.
That's awesome. See, and that's why you're here. And that's why
I love the theater experience, though. Like, the first time, so, you know, I hope I'm not ruining this for anyone, but when we're talking Endgame, like, I don't think that I've talked about this every time I talk to somebody about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and, like, movie theater experience. I have never been in a movie theater for any movie that people started getting up and cheering like we were at a sporting event. Like when Cap gets the hammer, the whole theater was screaming and cheering. Like I was expecting to see signs that we were at a WWE event because of how loud it got.
Oh shit!
Or
that's awesome.
Or like when you hear screaming, and then like when like you hear Sam say Cap on your left at an end game, people lost their shit over that. When I was at Spider-Man No Way Home towards the end, not to give anything away at the end, women were crying. Like it was crazy how much these affect us, you know? Because honestly, if you look at superheroes, be it DC or Marvel, right? If you think about it, they are our generation's gods. They are our, you know, Zeus and Athena and, you know, Odin and Thor and Loki directly, specifically.
Seriously.
But, you know, back then, the gods were their comic books. They were what you strive to be. That was the perfection. And now we have in our generation comic books that project the moral compass that, you know, that's the most important thing about superheroes is the moral compass and how they can relate to being human. And that's where those are our modern gods.
Would you, okay, I got a question for both of you guys. Would you guys say that, besides the fact that they're good movies, but another really good thing about these films is that they're basically the ultimate family film. If you really think about it, kids love the Avengers. Us as adults love the Avengers. I mentioned my wife. I know there's a lot of women that love these type of films, and there's not like too much stuff to where you can't take, say, like your 6-7-year-old to the movies with you to watch, as long as they can sit long enough. You know what I mean? But to go watch these movies, or even just to watch them on Disney Plus at home with your kids, just like, hey, we're gonna watch these movies. You know, whenever you guys decide to watch them for whatever reason, like say, hey, this is your guys' summer vacation. Guess what? Every single day, when after dinner and other stuff, we're gonna get together. We're gonna sit in the living room. We're all gonna just watch these movies every single day because you guys don't have school. We're gonna watch them when I get out of work, say around like 6 o'clock. Boom, we're gonna just watch every single day. We're gonna watch a movie, and I can't think. I know there's other movies, but there's other quote unquote family movies where everybody's not really into it. You know what I mean? Like the family type of movie where but for these, I'm not gonna say everybody likes them, but of course, if you're fans of these, usually your whole household is. I'll say that. Like,
I mean, it's a perfect movie for
a character that they enjoy, that they'll watch it for. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'll give you a great example. When rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, when he died, like it was sad seeing like all these little kids being very upset. Like that was their superhero that died when they had like their toys lined up with Black Panther laying down in the middle. You've seen that all over Facebook and all this other stuff. And like even my nephew's 7, he took it hard. Or he's 8 now, but he took it hard.
Yeah, and you know, much respect to Chadwick Boseman too, because you know, being such a public figure, and not only the Black Panther role, but taking on Jackie Robinson, taking on James Brown, taking on these iconic roles, and being that famous so quickly, and going through cancer unbeknownst to everybody because you only kept it within your inner circle. It was a shock to everybody. It was something that I totally respect in the fact that he was that famous and was able to keep it under that much wraps. Like how hard was that have to have been on him and his family and everyone that supported him in, you know, keeping that wish for him, is that you wouldn't let that go. Because if we knew, could we be looking at Black Panther the same way? Could we be looking at some of these other roles the same way?
It's tough. It's tough. Maybe if we knew, would you put him on a higher pedestal? Like if we knew then, because he knocked them roles out of the fucking park.
I think that we were robbed of a well, I shouldn't say we were robbed, because you know that's almost like a selfish kind of feeling at that point when you're saying we were robbed. But you know, the one thing we were lucky enough to see was him performing from the beginning of his career to the end of his career, because he was a very, very talented actor that got taken too early way too soon, but made such an impact with the characters that he took on and the performances that he did for the short amount of time that he was an actor. He changed the game.
He did
change the game.
And his last thing I'll say about that too is, like, for him being a minority, those roles are so important. Like just him being Black, not even the other iconic roles, but just him being Black Panther. Because as a little kid, you don't see too many heroes that look like you. So and then once you finally, it's like I love that the kids got to see that and be proud. And that's not just for black, because there's white kids love Black Panther, all that, dressed up as Black Panther. But it was cool for them to be able to see that and just be like, this is fucking awesome. Like that guy looks like hey, that guy looks like me. Like instead of seeing all the other shit, usually villain and all the other kind of underlying roles. He wasn't like a hero to where like he's like jokey, like he was serious. He was like a honest, honorable person to kind of look up and look into. Kind of like he had like the technology and the smarts of like a Tony Stark / Bruce Wayne, but he had like the heart of like a Captain America in a sense.
Yeah,
Black Panther, like the heart and the mindset of a Captain America. Like he wasn't this cocky, brash, which he could have been easily, but he was the complete opposite of that. It was all about the people and his people. Very
humble.
He could have been a Thor.
Yeah. But that's the other perspective I was getting at too, and I think I can, by what you were just saying, I think I can project it in a little bit different light too. Is that if he was going through all of this cancer treatment and everything like that, and he knew that Black Panther role was going to react and for the Black community the way it did, how that must have been so hard to know that you were going to take on this role, you were going to be looked upon, and people were going to say, now that's our kind of superhero, that's someone that I can relate to, while knowing that you're probably not going to be able to pull that role off again.
Yes, unfortunately.
Like that's the hard thing.
Unfortunately, because like when he died, I was just like, what the fuck? What happened?
Yeah, that was a shock to everybody.
Fuck cancer, man.
Yep.
But shit,
that
was whew. I was like, damn. And that's actually
does not discriminate.
That does not. And that's one of the movies that I did see in theaters with the wife. Like I was awake through the whole thing. This is fucking awesome. And it was cool. Like I know people are getting annoyed by it. Like when people are dressing up, in the African gear and all. I'm like, it's awesome. People do it for any other type of film, and you guys are getting upset about it. And they're like, oh, but they're taking. I'm like, why are they taking it too far? They're
not taking it too far.
They're doing it. It makes them feel good. Yeah. It's prideful.
Exactly.
And it's fucking awesome, amazing movie. And people just, I'm just like, shut up. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's tearing up. They're going to see a movie and being happy about it. And that movie grossed so much fucking money, which was great.
Oh, so much. Yeah, there was this thing, this video I saw with Chadwick Boseman where they were catching people coming out of the theater for the first time watching Black Panther, and then he would come out of the curtain and surprise them. Yeah. I can't tell you how many people called him their king and did the chest pump and did all that. Like they looked at him as being the next person that was taking that torch. Yeah. And inside, he knew that he had to be as supportive to them and what they believed and what brought that movie, how they felt about that movie, underlining everything with he knew he was passing.
Being sick, because it's a thing, like you said, it sucks that he passed and he went too soon. Of course, we all wish we could have him, not just for the movies, but for his family and all that stuff, of course, the important stuff. But it's just like, it's one of those things, it's like, would you be honorable? And I don't even want to say honorable though, because that might be the wrong thing to say. But could you do that? Like being that?
No.
You know what I mean? Like knowing that this is like, because it makes you look at him so much more. It makes you look at him like the real life version of the Black Panther. Like the character of Black Panther would be doing that same shit. Like no matter what's going on with me, my sickness, whatever the case may be,
that's things that are greater than me.
That's not important. Everybody else is. Like everybody else needs to be happy. Everybody else needs to be taken care of, and that's basically what he did for us. And then.
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder too, because like you say, his rise in stardom was just like so rocket ship. Like, do you think that's where, like, he made that conscious decision to like put his energy and his power into making sure that he does these things at such a great level that he leaves his shit before he goes? Like, is that the reason why he is the Chad Boseman that we know and love because of these characters that he did? And that was the defining moment for him. Like, fuck, I got something that's going to take me out regardless. I need to start doing what I got to do now.
I got to leave a legacy.
I think that was a big part of it. I think that was a huge part of it.
And he took on prominent roles too, like you said. He took on very prominent roles. It wasn't just like a side character here, a side character. Like, no, he took on some very important roles. And I mean, even though it's not a real movie, or like a real life event, but the Black Panther one was probably one that touched more than all of his other films. No disrespect, but just because, again, I was saying how these movies are like the ultimate family film. So just think of all the men, women, and children, families that went to go see this movie, and then those same families that mourned when he passed. And again, the children, especially the children, because I've never, like me growing up, we've heard of famous people passing all the time. I've never been upset about somebody like to that extent to where I'm, you know what I mean, how these kids were in my childhood life that I, from somebody famous ever. That didn't happen until my adult life when Michael Jackson died, and then more recently, I took it even harder when I didn't cry about it. I almost did when DMX passed. But that's just because the music, just growing up in your childhood, listening to that music and all that stuff. Yep. And with these kids seeing, again, with the Black Panther and all those movies, that movie and just watching the Avengers and all of that, and then just like, boom. Like, when any of these people go, it's going to be rough for a lot of fucking people just because of these films here.
Agreed.
Agreed. And it's going to, a lot of families, because again, these are the ultimate family films. Hands down, these are probably the best family films ever made.
It's funny, you were talking about that earlier, and these are movies that, when you brought that up about the ultimate family film and stuff, these are movies that literally make me now, like, because we can lose in the moment while we're watching movies. We can have the reactions that are needed or whatnot, or that it makes us have, but we're not talking about them when we're watching a movie. We're too busy engaged in the movie, and plus it's kind of disrespectful to be talking about certain things as the movie's going on and stuff, especially if you're in a theater setting. But, like, these are the movies that, especially after the fact, you're watching them, and it makes me have certain internal conversations about the certain things, and like we said, the moralities, the compass, all these different things, the values of the movies, right? The core of these movies, because at the end of the day, these are aesthetically pleasing, directed, character building stories. You know what I mean? That we're getting out of this that can help, teach and lead other kids down, and other people, and fuck kids, even us. Like, sometimes we need reminders as well to be like, yo, the best self that you are is not on the way you moving right now. Like, pay attention. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta be like, yo, what would Cap do? You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah,
I agree.
This is super dope that we have these conversations, and this is where, like, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, this whole shit makes me look at movies in certain different ways and actually, like, reflect more about them.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. It really hurts my feelings too when you have people like Martin Scorsese and saying that these aren't real movies and stuff like that. It's like, are you kidding me right now? It's like, you're saying this about some of the movies that were the highest grossing. Like, there's a good amount of Marvel movies in the top 10 most grossing movies of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the top one of your movies? What number does that come in at?
It's just jealousy when it comes to that, because again, like I said, it's the ultimate family film. If you can get a household to watch these films, that's saying something. And not only that, but these
generations of a household, not just.
Let's even bring it to the next thing. Let's say ethnicities, race, all that. Like, this is the ultimate family film. These are the ultimate family films, because we have those films to where, like, I'll just say Spanish films that were maybe some Spanish films that you've seen that I've never seen or heard of. Maybe more some Caucasian films that, you've seen that we've never heard of. Maybe more Black that I've seen that maybe you guys have never heard of. But this is just like, it's not black, white. It's, everybody. It's all inclusive. Everybody. I don't care what you are, what your background is. You're going to enjoy this. You're going to watch it.
There's something for everybody. Absolutely.
And it all comes back to the great mind of fucking Stan Lee and his partner there when they started these comics back in the fucking,
Kirby?
40s, 50s? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, they were so far ahead of their time. They got so much ridicule for it. And all the undertones and all the shit of equality and race and all this stuff that they played it out in such a way to be accepted in so many different aspects. And even in some aspects where it was subliminal and it wasn't right in the face of what was going on, that, hey, we're targeting these issues that are occurring. They were just so entertaining and such great stories that it's not until later on in life that you're looking back at certain things and you're like, oh shit, that was about that, or damn, that was because when I was first reading X-Men and all that shit, even though, like, it obviously it said, hey, but the differences of humans versus mutants and all that shit, you're not a kid going, damn, that's black versus white. Damn, that's, you know what I mean? Or any type of bigotry or anything like that. You know what I mean? Let alone that, know the word bigotry when you're that young reading these or anything like that. But it's like, fuck. Like, damn, especially now you're like, man. And then you look at all these different people of coming together, all these different aspects. We got aliens, we got fucking godlike people, we have genetically, scientifically created people, we have people of technology, we got, you know, radiated people with fucking the Hulk and, you know, radioactive Spider-Man, you know what I mean? It's like, but here we are engaging, we're loving them, and we're learning from them, and it's like, imagine if we did that shit in real life. You know what I mean? Fucking 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Imagine, but then again,
90 years ago, 100
if the issues weren't there, these characters may have never even been created.
True.
You know what I mean?
True.
I agree with that. True. But you do raise a good question on why we don't ask ourselves these questions, especially with some of the social, you know, with some of the things that are even going on currently right now.
Yeah.
You know, you really wonder when people are going to realize that we are all the human race and we are all on this planet. We're sharing this area and we're all equal. And no matter what, is it going to take an alien invasion for us to realize this?
I feel, and here's the thing with that though, is I'll go back to it. I mean, the tragic events is 9/11, how everybody was together for those few months, few days, maybe even a year.
Yeah.
And after that was like, fuck you. Like, come on.
Yeah.
This is,
well, they weren't exactly, don't get me wrong, because then it was just focused on one specific group.
True.
And it's like, fuck. But then you take it to our modern times here, right? We take it 20 some odd years later, 20 years later, and now we have COVID occur. And what's the first thing we do? We got to point a finger at somebody, and now we're hating on Asians for the first a year or whatnot. Yeah. Like, when are we just going to learn that listen, it's human condition, it's natural events, and it's fucking, you know, internal battles that we're all struggling as far as how to handle this shit and navigate through the shit called life. And then the other things that are inflicting some of this are all man-made issues and problems, like commerce and money, like fucking, like all these things that divide us instead of it making us come together and work together. You got rich versus poor, you got sick versus healthy, you got the haves versus the have-nots, the people who control what got going on and the people who need the shit that's going on. And then everybody can't figure out how to come to the middle line, especially when there's things like, you know, money that comes into effect and greed and fucking, but again, it all comes down to lessons of being that we need to learn in the human condition and understanding ourselves. We all are angry at times. We are all pissed off and bitter. We are all happy and sad. We are all hurt at times. Like, just remember, every time you have that notion or you're dealing with somebody that seems to be displaying us, like, just think about what are they going through right now that's causing this situation and their reaction. What have I gone through that had me be in the same situation where, like, not necessarily right or wrong, just what, because like you said earlier, you're right on both sides, but you know, now there's that conflict, and then we throw in things like religion and beliefs, and they're all going for the same thing. They all want peace. They all want to live free. They all want to practice and preach in the same freedomness and just be able to be embracing of their belief. But yet we can't figure out how not to fucking kill each other over the shit.
No, over land, over shit. And my whole thing, and I'll say this last thing about it, like the whole
land
thing
in the world that we're fucking up anyway because of our human condition and our greed and our laziness and our fucking need for convenience. Like, it's crazy.
Like, for me, I feel like, just, I'm not saying different countries and shit are crazy, but as far as like having like borders and all that, like, oh, you know, building a wall, it's stupid to me, because at the end of the day, what the fuck? If you want to go somewhere, you should be able to, as long as you're not going there tearing up shit, that's how it should be. Like, how do we as a world, not just as a country, but how do we as a world spend billions and billions of dollars on stuff that can destroy this world, destroy us, but at the same time won't spend those same billions in healing everybody? Like, here, there's more than enough to where everybody should have a house, just be living comfortably, honestly. Just living comfortably, and just everybody doesn't think like that, which is sad. Like, you know how cool it would be if, like, yo, guys, let's go to fucking Japan right now and stay there for a little while, hang out. Let's learn the culture, learn the language, and let's go somewhere else. But not to take and steal, just to learn. Right. And then when people come do this, like, that's how it should be. That's how it should be, all going all over the place, all over the world. There should be like, what's the point of having weapons? Seriously. What is the point of having weapons?
Like Chuck said, it's going to be
sad. When you have people in power like we do, then, you know, they need to, either, play the real game of Risk or, look to protect yourself. And that's really what it comes down to. And it's unfortunate that we still have these tensions.
And the powers that be, the ones that have all this beef, aren't the ones that are going and putting their lives on the line.
Nope.
Which is sad. Like, because if it was like that, or like, say, I say this all the time, it's like, wouldn't it be some shit like, say, if all these country leaders, if they were the ones who, no guns, no knives, what if they had to have an MMA fight? There's gonna be a lot less wars and shit going on, because like, oh shit, wait, I gotta get in there and fight. Like, yeah. And then voting's gonna be way different. Like, yo, Biden, Trump, I'm not putting you in there. I'm voting for fucking John Jones or someone that can actually fight at least somebody goes down.
The Rock.
Love it. There you go. Like, people that can. But what I'm getting at though is like, it's just crazy that it takes all that tearing up. I mean, you could look at fucking Iron Man 1. When he went there and seen all that shit happen with his weapons that he was creating, he's like, I want to get out of this. No, fuck no, we're not doing this shit no more. Why can't the world, not just America, why can't the world do the same shit? Like, wait a minute. We're killing up and tearing up all this shit for what? Honestly, for what? Just to say we have this resource? Just to say we have this resource? Why not just fucking open it all up for everybody? You can still make your money, whatever, but let's just stop tearing everything up. It's not helping anything at all. People say we learn from history. What the fuck are we learning? Because we're doing the same shit over and
over and hide it better and better every time we try.
Yep.
They tell us, you got to learn history so it doesn't repeat itself. Well, what the fuck is it doing? Since the first war started, none have ended.
Let me.
I agree.
How about we forget history? Because then that's all we know is the shit that we did wrong previously, and we don't move forward from it. We just keep repeating that shit. Fuck everything else that happened. Leave it be. Let's let go of the bullshit and the baggage, and let's move forward with an embrace.
A clean slate. Clean slate. Give everybody the equal footing. Give everybody the equal opportunities, and go from there, and just keep it progressing. And I bet you the world will be like, for those of you believe in God, and I believe in God, these motherfuckers finally get it. Guess what? Everybody can live forever. But until then, till these stupid motherfuckers don't get it, they keep fucking up. We're gonna have losses, innocent and guilty. Everybody's gonna die eventually. It's like,
and that's the
not only that. I mean, it's also leaving our planet not being like, not maybe in our lifetime, but what they're doing is leaving our planet uninhabitable, and that's why they start these like, space travel and trying to figure out how to colonize different planets and everything, because they know that not only is it the wars and the pollution and the industries and the manufacturing that are going on, it's killing this living thing of a planet.
Which though has its methods and has its ways of cleansing itself and rebuilding itself. There's no way to stop it. Whether we adapt and we can survive or not, it doesn't matter. We can blow this whole shit up. It may take fucking more than any other lifetimes of a human to get back or be better than it was, but it will survive. It will keep going, and it will fucking redevelop itself, and there will be new inhabitants and creatures on this planet. There will be new situations occurring. Like, it's so crazy that we consume more than we consume in order to waste. We consume more on this planet to make shit for us to consume that gets wasted than what we even need if we just made it, used it, spread it out, and shared it with everybody. World hunger would not be a thing, but yet we throw fucking, like, I don't know how many trillions of pounds of food away because it either goes bad in our fridge or in a warehouse because they didn't get it out fast enough, or we didn't end up eating it. But yet we have the notion to buy it. It's manufactured, it's shipped, it's cost, but yet we don't even get to use it. We bought more than we needed, and then we throw out half of it, or we cook so much that it gets put in the fridge, you get leftovers, or then it gets moldy if you don't eat it, so it gets thrown out anyway. I mean, the way we mine resources for our convenience, like batteries and plastics and electricity and metals, yes, it's cool to have all of this stuff, and everybody can essentially, but then you add the price tag to it, that then not everybody can afford it and can't get their hands on it, so then you have to end up wasting it and throwing it away, or figuring out something else to do with the shit and making something else to now fill that void that you can try to make money off of and capitalize on. But then now you got to go back and get more of the shit because demand's higher, which then is hurting the, like, it's a vicious fucking cycle, and it's a revolving door, and it's pointless to the point that it's annoying.
You know when things will change is when kindness is looked at as a strength as a whole by everybody instead of a weakness. Until then, shit's because I'm not even trying to be funny, but kindness overall is looked at as a weakness. Like, oh, they're being nice.
Very true.
Yeah, now we can fuck them. We can take advantage of them. Let's manipulate them. Let's play with them.
It's either looked at as a weakness or it's looked at as like, are they manipulating us? Like, no, this is just a nice person. This is how these people. This is how we should be. It's just treating each other.
It's sad we don't know how to do that no more. Like we rather speculate and assume on the notion of why is this occurring than just embracing that it occurred and being happy that it did.
Mm-hmm.
And then going, you know what? That was really nice, and that felt really good. Let me help this dude next to me.
Yeah.
He helped me. Let me help
forward.
him. Exactly.
And I could speak for myself personally just by changing. I mean, of course, you grow as a person, get older, and from your, I'll say your teen years, your dickhead years, to finally becoming an adult. And you're just like, just by the way you speak with people and treat people, your life changes. Your life changes for the better just by being as corny as it sounds, just by being a nicer person. I'm not saying you're not working hard and doing other shit, but just your personality, just getting that negative energy and thoughts out of you, it helps a fucking ton. So I'm like, just imagine if everybody did that. If everybody would just just imagine how if everybody did it for a week. Everybody, I mean, the whole world being nice to everybody for a week. It takes
2 weeks to change habits and change a mindset. If you continuously give yourself the things that is reinforcing to it. 2 weeks, whether it's you working out, whether it's you eating right, whether it's you changing your mindset to be more positive, 2 weeks of actual dedication and disciplining yourself. But then it's the work after to maintain that people fall off. It's real easy for the holidays to come around and everybody feel joyous and want to be one and embrace and go buy presents and give away and be charitable. But then as soon as that shit's done, those 2 weeks, that month is over, everybody's right back to the bitter assholes because they got to get to work. They got to do this. They got to do that. They got screwed over on this. This person didn't help him with this, so now I'm gonna be an asshole instead of reciprocating, instead of being like, you know what, that was just a moment. Even if like somebody was like, nah, not today. Okay, they said no today. A week from now, they might say yes, or you might need them again, or they might need you. And now you're gonna be like, well, since they said no, I'm gonna say no. You don't even know what the circumstances were that played into the role of them saying no at that point. Maybe they were making sure that, you know what, I gotta be good myself. I can't right now because then that takes away from me. Because then now I'm gonna be hurt. And I know there's nobody here to help me now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so don't be mad about that situation. Just be like, all right, cool, it is what it is. That person comes to you and is like, yo, I really need you. If you're in a position to be like, all right, fine, what you need? Let me help you. Don't just do it out of spite. Because of some shit that happened a week ago, or a couple months ago when you fucking needed $5 and I didn't have it, I said no, and you like, well, that's fucked up. No, I didn't have it.
Yeah,
I didn't have it.
People don't look at stuff like that though. People don't look at stuff like that. Like, hey, they don't got it. That's fine. I'll get it.
Well, I think a lot of it also has to do with social media and a certain distractions and everything.
Yeah.
It narrows everything down. It's like, my mom said best, and she's someone that doesn't get into this technology. It's like the more we're connected, the further we grow apart.
Yep. And that's the shit that sucks, because the other problem with that is it's not even our choice. We have these companies like Meta and Facebook, Google, that are collecting this data on us, and because we clicked this or didn't like this, and now it's showing us and forcing us to see the same repetitive shit, the same types of shit. And like you said, it narrows us and focuses us. You know what I mean? If we see...
Well, it also narrows us... Yeah. It narrows us in the fact, too, that we have an individual world.
Guess what? Now you're getting Ukraine advertisements. You're getting the news feeds, which that's all depressing. That's all fucking angry. And I'm not saying we need to ignore it. I'm just saying understand that the reason why you're constantly feeling in that notion in that space is because these technologies are forcing you to be exposed to it every day. Every 2 seconds you're scrolling because of the shit it sees and hears that you're doing. Yet you probably would have looked at that, watched the news that night, but then that would have been it. You would have went back to looking at whatever for your kids, or recipes, or this, that, or the third, or getting back into your reinforcement or your Zen or your meditation, instead of getting fed all this shit. You know, the Karens of the internet and the fucking keyboard fucking warriors that always got something negative to say. And now you're getting angry at that. And now you just keep seeing more shit, and then you're going down these comments, and you're watching them go back and forth, back and forth. It's compounding, bro. You know how interest is. It's the same shit with people's mentalities and fucking, relationships. It's like, if you constantly keep yourself in that same area, in that same scope, what are you gonna expect? You're gonna expect to fucking be happy? No, all you're doing is eating fucking sour shit. You're just eating rotten fruit every day.
And that leads us to the mentality of, I'm going to worry about me and only me. We live in a world that no one else is going to look out for me. I'm going to have to only look out for myself. That's the only person that matters. And that's what it comes down to, that, all of this stuff funnels us into that, mind frame of, you can only watch your own. You can only watch your own back. You can only take care of you. This is my world, and everyone else is living in it. And that's the unfortunate thing of the mentality, because if we all had the mentality, like we were saying, is that you're looking at the bigger picture and everyone being equal and everyone needing each other to succeed, all of that becomes contradictory and sets us all back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Oh God, this shit sucks. All right, we gotta get going on some of this stuff here real quick. I gotta step away for 2 seconds. Get ready. Get your brains together here. It's that time, Sturdy. It's time for the results on this one here. The Avengers. I mean, this one dug out some, and it seems like we always have these deeper conversations that are coming out of this movies, but this one really. I mean, this is our longest episode. It's gonna be probably 2.5 hours. So. Yeah, super stoked for that. I really hope people watch this, because this is good content. This is good stuff to reinforce and make people understand and realize, it's one thing to say something nice or realize, you know what, I gotta be better. But then it's another thing to be like, yo, I gotta be better. And there's only one way you're gonna be better. You have to be better. You have to do the work. You have to be the person who's taking those steps forward. I'll be right back.
He's not going to be right back.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm guessing he has to,
But this right here is why, these type of conversations that just randomly pop up is why I love podcasting so much. I have my own show and I'm a part of other shows, and it's because it's for example, I have my horror show and we'll have conversations about the movie, and then it'll just jump into sometimes some silly stuff like we did with this one. But then you get into the meat and potatoes. Out of nowhere, just what the fuck? And then you get back into the and it's just all over. And you
find yourself right back around and talking about the same. Yep.
And people how the hell did this connect with the movie? And you're like, this is how. This is what the movie's really showing you, but you're not really, And it's
and like we just said, if we all had a moral compass more like superheroes, we wouldn't be dealing with this bullshit.
Yeah, we really wouldn't be.
No,
it wouldn't be.
But we live in reality, and we have to, adapt and adjust and try our best to try to, project the best positive thing that we can, and help as many as we can, and know that we are all here together. This is the only planet we got. This is the only land that we got. This is the only people that will live here, and. If we want to destroy ourselves, then we're going to destroy everything. But if we want to help each other, we can make this flourish.
Hell yeah. It's honestly, again, just from growing up, which we've all been there, it's so much easier to be positive in a good mood than negative. Because that shit's just dragging. That shit's just it's like a weight.
I agree.
It's been stewing for a while. What'd I miss?
We were just reflecting on exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah,
and how we can make things better.
I was just telling him, I was like, how much I enjoy podcasting, which I tell you this a lot, Chris, how much I enjoy podcasting, where I always wanted you to start a show, and me and you started kicking it, really.
Yep.
Because I was like, you get so much more of conversations of randomness from because what we do, reviewing movies. Just reviewing movies or video game, whatever the case may be, and conversations go all over the place, and you're just like, holy shit.
But that's the point of these as well, right? People, they're telling a story. They want people's inflictions and their reactions. There's reasons behind these stories, right? And that's what they're meant to do. They're meant to invoke thought and conversation. And if we're not conversating, how the fuck do we group together? How do we connect? How do we? That's the point of this. That's the whole point of these movies in general. They're not just meant to be consumed and sat back and forgotten about.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. No, they're meant for these type of conversations, or I won't even say just with the conversations we had, whatever conversations people can bring, whatever they can pull from it and bring from it, because others that are reviewing these same films, they're going to say something, they could say something completely different, but we could all have that. We could all have that same you know what I mean? We could all review these films together. Like say there was 3 other people that's just like us reviewing this same film at the same exact time, but their conversation's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I bet you we can connect with them and agree on a lot of the same shit. Like, yes, yes. And oh wow. This is what you got from that. This is what you pulled.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the movie aspect of this is the reality you pulled from this shit. Like, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'd love to get like one person who's always like the antagonist of the group. You know what I mean? But it's hard, especially with these movies. Like we definitely have different outlooks about certain things, and yes, we agree and we point out certain things that are common or whatnot. But we also still all point out different aspects, or display certain thought process behind it. So that's the dope part about it, because we all come from different places, we all do different things, and we all act differently in our everyday lives. But yeah, at the same time, look, we find a common ground.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, you're right in some regards, and you're right to you and people who get your perspective and agree with you, and we're right with the people who get our perspective and agree with us. So
exactly.
That's the thing. Just remember, who cares? Even if you disagree, just stop shooting at each other. Like,
yep.
All right, guys.
That's all life is. Life is all about perspective, and it's the information that you take in that builds your perspective. And even though I might disagree with somebody and their perspective on a situation or an event or whatever it may be, I respect the fact that they have an opinion, they have a perspective, because I have one. And it's like, I don't want them to judge me for mine. I'm not going to judge you for yours. You have every right for yours. I have every right for mine. And it really just comes down to perspective.
Very true. Very true.
It. Gentlemen, results. Who wants to go first? Actually, Sturdy, you go first, since Chuck started us off on the beginning of the show with initials.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
9? Okay.
Easy 9 for me. Yeah, hell yeah.
I mean, we talked about so much in this movie. We really
I know.
did.
I know. But yeah, a 9.
9 all day, huh?
Yes, sir.
Chucky,
yes, sir.
what you got?
So we're rating this from 1 to 10 based upon the Avengers movie. I'd give it, and this is being compared to the other ones?
Just
this movie in general by itself.
Just this movie in general by itself. Yeah. I would probably give it I give it a 9.2.
Okay. Fucking Chuck.
A 9.2.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. It's a 9. It's a 9. I'm one of those people that it's very hard. Like, it's hard to please me to the point that I give something a perfect score. So I'm hoping I can dig it out. And I'm hoping one of these conversations does it for me on one of these movies. But this is as close as it gets with them. There's definitely other movies that pulled me in and I was engaged with more coming later, which I'm super excited to talk about and get into with you guys on the Midnight Matinee. But definitely this is a very, very strong 9. You know what? I might even say this is a 9.5. I'll give it a 9.5.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm giving it a half off is honestly just the only thing I could find wrong with this movie, because there aren't holes, there's no bad acting, there aren't situations that irked or annoyed me. I chuckled and laughed at times. I got serious with them at the same time. I felt the fucking heartbreak of Coulson dying. The only gripe was the costuming, and that's why it's not getting a 10 from me on this one, because some of the costumes with Cap, with Thor, they just looked a little bit too, they tried too hard. But other than that, this is as close to a perfect movie, a storytell as you can get, and it's one of the biggest in our generation and biggest culminations and like build-ups that I've ever seen or ever thought I could actually see, especially on the big screen.
Yeah, that was the first experience of the big, culmination of a lot of superheroes at one time.
Like, this is the shit that we dream about, that we've always said even as kids. Yo, imagine, man, if all of a sudden they like made a movie and it had all of the like, you know what I mean? And it's like, and then from outer space comes like it's like hits all the boxes for an imagination of like.
Yo, last thing I'm gonna say real quick too is I'm almost jealous of the kids that get to grow up with these movies. Like, yes, we got to see the cartoons on and shit, but just imagine being a kid and then your parents are into these to where like every time these come out, you're going to see these movies. And then you're like 10, 12, 15 years old having these conversations with your friends, especially over the fucking summer. These assholes get to have the whole fucking summer off, which I'm jealous about, and get to watch these movies all day and night if they want to and talk about them, have all this, and pretend they're Avengers fighting in the fucking back. All right, enough.
Yeah, they're really lucky in the fact that when I was growing up, I still remember watching the TV little miniseries of Lou Ferrigno as incredible as the Incredible Hulk, and having the guy from Coach being Thor. Like, that was our quality, and I won't change that for the world because that helped build my love for the characters. But what they get now, they are totally spoiled.
Oh yeah, we had the shitty 70s Spider-Man live action. We had fucking Wonder Woman spinning around to transform.
They didn't have to go through the rough stuff at all.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We had shitty green screen or gray screen fucking Superman. We had Batman climbing a ropes, and then they turned the fucking film sideways as him scaling a building. You know,
with people popping their heads out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
could you imagine being that person that was living in the apartment complex and just being like, "Oh, hi, Batman."
Ma'am, go back inside. There's an evildoer on your roof. Like, oh, okay.
Don't mind the little boy behind me.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with our relationship.
Yeah, right?
Holy shit.
Oh, this is so funny. Yeah, but like, I love this shit, man. I really do. And so far, this is my favorite episode of the Midnight Matinee. Like, the story, the conversation got so deep. We touched on so many things. We discuss and tag into certain things that are coming, certain things that occurred. Like, and I think that's what's supposed to happen, right? That was their whole game plan. Because this is that one point where it all changes and it shows, and it's gonna evolve from here on out. And then we get other dynamics of Guardians of the Galaxy coming in and all the other stuff that happens. And then, like I said, we get Shang-Chi with the passing. We get Spider-Man looped in and all this stuff. So I'm really excited now to keep going from here, because this is where, to me, it's off to the races. This is the supercharged spot right here. This is where shit really starts to get exciting and stay exciting from here on out. Not that they weren't before, but this.
No, I get you. This is the one where it's just like, okay, now we're going.
Now it's full steam ahead. There's no stopping this train. We got bigger picture. We got bigger fucking evil that's coming. We got the notion of, you know, world events occurring in which they have to work together to try to solve and figure out. You get the whole notion from Tony and the next one's coming of how much of that weight he bears with his dreams, his images, and like him knowing that, hey, I have a purpose, we have a purpose, I need to figure out some things with, you know, Ultron coming and stuff like that when you see that. So they do a really great job at humanizing things and connecting you with the human condition and, like, you know, shit that most people could be battling on a daily basis. You know, it may not be in the same grand scope of, you know, world collapse or, you know, evil entities from space coming that we have to work together to foil, but it's still, people go through this shit even on, you know, I say minuscule because, again, if we're looking at things the way it is, our everyday lives are not big picture things because we're so fine-tuned into the machine and having to work and constantly keep up to pace and do things and pay bills and do all this shit instead of having the experiences and being able to focus on shit like this. But then again, the time and space we're at now, we have on part of the other side of the world shit that is like this that's occurring, and that's very real to them, and it's their everyday life. Like, you can't drive without hearing a siren or, hey, bomb raid, or, you know what I mean? So it's real.
Worrying about a hospital being bombed.
Right. It's real and it's out there. It's just that we're so distracted from things that, you know, stuff like this really helps you kind of regroup to.
Well, the other thing is too, and going back into what we were just saying a little bit, is that, you know, you have those mentalities that are like, you know, looking at gas prices and being like, oh, I can't believe this. I need to get, you know, whatever it is. They're bitching about the gas prices and the fact that, you know, you're bitching about the gas prices while this stuff is going on. You know, we made sacrifices to try to help as much as we can at this point, at least. I mean, I'm sure there's still more that we can do. There's definitely more that we can do in this situation with the Ukraine. But for us to, you know, take a little bit of a hit and people bitching about it, that's the selfishness that's going on right now.
The selfishness
like,
and entitlement.
How is this affecting me? You know, and that's not how we should be looking at this. We should be looking at it as what is being challenged here, what is being taken away from these people. That is the bigger issue and the bigger reason for why we're doing what we're doing. Not why is this gas price affecting me because I need to drive to, you know, to the bar to hang out with my friends.
Yep. You know, it's
you have the luxury of going to the bar.
Yeah, it's understandable to acknowledge the fact that it's causing you to have a little bit less of your resource of money because it's costing more to travel. But at the same time, let's not forget that if this shit comes down to it and it comes to our fucking shores, all of this can change.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, you won't even have an option to bitch about it because guess what? Somebody hears you bitching about it, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's big picture, people. Big picture. The world is changing. The world is changing. If your world doesn't change and you don't adapt and you don't move with it, or you're against trying to save and keep things as close to normal as we can, doing what we gotta do, there's a problem. And especially if you're not going to be, like, I'll be the first one to say it, like, unless the shit comes to my front door, I'm not signing up to go deal with this and go do this. Nah. But that doesn't mean that I'm a fucking asshole and I'm a piece of shit. But know one thing, when shit comes to my door and I see my neighbors and I see my family and I see all this other shit happening, I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be like, yo, what do you need? What's happening? Let's figure this out. Like, safe. Let's figure out safe and let's figure out how to stay safe. But I'm not sitting here bitching and moaning about, well, this sucks, I gotta do this. I'm praising God that I got people around me that are helping me and supporting me and still allowing me to fucking get up every day, that electricity's still coming to the house, that there's even a computer for me to be able to do this, that there's people I can even talk to still, that there's still some connection and shit. Like, there's just so much more. People just really need to put things in perspective and realize these luxuries and these common conveniences, they're fucking meaningless. Meaningless. Fucking A.
I agree.
Fucking hate people. Anyway. Boys! I would say that was a good session.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I was a part of this. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no doubt. You're going to be on a couple more. You're going to be a couple more. You might be on even a couple more than that. I got to finish filling out some of my schedule and stuff. I know you say you're down for any of them. I do appreciate you both moving the day and time from yesterday to today, so thank you.
Yeah.
No problem.
Everybody who's watching, it's the Worst Damn Gamer. I appreciate. Sorry for it being late and posting. This is probably going to go up tomorrow, which is Monday. It was supposed to be up yesterday. Had a birthday, had some family shit, so it is what it is. I do apologize. I will try to stick to my schedule.
Nerf fighting.
Yeah, I almost got my eye taken out, okay? This is why I can't go to war.
No.
I can't survive a Nerf war. You want me to go to a real war? I'm not the guy. I'm just not. I can talk to you, though. I can be here for you. I can help you. I can calm you.
Yep.
You know, that's my role in this life right now.
I'm a good person for that.
I can make you laugh if need be. You know what I mean? I'll even fall for you to make you laugh if I have to. I do what I can for
Physical comedy.
That's it. You got no problems. We got Sir Sturdy over here to my left. You can catch him Tuesdays and Thursdays on Horror with Sir Sturdy. I'm usually a part of that as well. So if you're enjoying the content, if you're enjoying the flow, if you like the mindset and the mentalities, you want to see us discuss and chop up some of the best and fucking most horrible horror movies there are, you can catch it there Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you're a content creator, check us out on the Z Network. It's a network for creators by creators. We're starting to build it out even more. Sturdy's got a couple things in the works. I got a couple people that I'm talking to, so I'm trying to see if we can build this thing. Remember to spread the word as well. If you want to be engaged, you want a community who's going to help you and help you spread the word and can even help you grow and learn new tactics and get your shit going, the Z Network's going to be the place for you. Absolutely. We got Charles, our boy, down. He's doing his thing from the office spaces. We all got roles to play. He's helping out every day that he can in the big machine, and that's fine. I'm helping out here with movie reviews. I'm keeping the kids occupied with my gaming shit. So if you're down for that, if you're good for conversation, if you want to engage, hit the comments, hit the likes, get the notification bells. Follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm everywhere.
Me too.
You will not regret it.
You are my life at this point, besides my family, of course, but you guys are my life. Guys, I am humbled by your presence and conversation, so thank you so much. I can be seen Saturday nights here. Charles is going to be a common guest. Sturdy is going to be on pretty much every single one of these because he asked from the get-go.
I did.
And I'm see, the other thing I'm doing too is I'm helping him continue to build his relationship with his wife. He's watching these movies with his wife. Call me Matchmaker Chris.
Good moves.
I'm not giving him that credit because I tell him about all the time that she's being late. Like today, I was like, she's like, I thought you were recording. I was like, your freaking Primo was late again. She was like, she just went out on a rant. She's like, it's embarrassing. He needs to cut it out. He's embarrassing us Puerto Rican.
How you figure? We're late to everything. You're supposed to be later than I am, first of all.
She wants you to be the model Puerto Rican, that's all. She wants you to be Captain Puerto Rico.
So then I'm doing perfect.
No, but
I show up exactly on time.
Not Latin time.
No, when I show up, it's on time.
That's not how this goes.
Chuck, you already know. I was late every goddamn day of my work life.
Oh my gosh.
You want me here at this time? Okay.
But he was putting a smile on every single person's face that walked in that door.
I bust my ass. I do my thing. I'll stay late if I have to. I showed up right when I was supposed to, though.
This guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's not the time you told me, it was when I was supposed to show up.
No, you told me 6:30. You told me a time.
I showed up at 6:20. What do you mean? I started talking to you at 6:08.
Oh shit!
How was I late again tonight? First of all, anyway,
we'll get to it.
I was a day late, maybe, but I also told y'all earlier that I wasn't making it, so whatever.
That is a good thing you did tell us.
Yeah, you know,
it was a great show.
It was.
See, things happen in the right time. Who knows what the conversation would have been yesterday? It may have been completely different.
True.
This is the conversation that needed to be had. How many lives were saved because I didn't do this yesterday? How many lives are saved today because this is coming out tomorrow and somebody's going to hear the positivity in this message or see it? They're going through a rough spot from some shit that happened on the weekend. Exactly.
That's a good thing. That's actually one thing that keeps me pushing, which I do love podcasting. It gives you that little more thing, especially with which I told you before, the whole pandemic thing, when people were like, thank you for having me on your show, especially during these times, because it's that getaway for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then you get back to reality. Yeah.
And if you get someone thought-provoking into something that you had said and that changes their mind about something, even just one person, you're helping the cause and you're helping the people, you know, realize a bigger picture.
Even just make them laugh for a little bit.
Yeah. A relief, an escape from reality.
Laughter's the best medicine. It's the food for the soul, man. And then behind the messages and the morals of this shit, like if we pull this out and they engage with that and they find some type of relation to a situation in their life that whether they were down about or they were beside themselves about, maybe this perspective or this, you know, talk about it made them go, you know what? Fuck.
Or it could be, if these idiots can do it, I can. Hey, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
If it's
I'm cool with that too.
A positive push, you go ahead and you do it.
That's one of the biggest things that people need to realize is that we all have a voice, and even though our voices may be saying different things, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's okay for you to say what you want to say and say what you got to say. Just remember, sometimes it's about how you say it, one, and two, what you're doing with what you say.
Yeah.
You know, so don't be damaging in what you're saying. Even if you're going to say something in an asshole way, just make sure you're doing it as respectful as you can so that it gets the point across, but you're not fucking somebody up. Like, because you can do some damage with your words. Just remember that.
That's
a lot of people don't realize that.
Nope. And I say some asshole shit sometimes, but I'm always smiling when I say it, and people usually are like, "What the fuck, man?" Like,
I do a lot, but you know what it is? But it's different because like the way we associate with each other, Chris, it's different because it's never disrespect, just jokes. When it comes to that kind of stuff, where it sounds kind of assholey, especially when we're on live, like, do these guys even like each other? This is how we talk to each other.
To most people, like half the time, the conversations between men and bros is just like, what the fuck is wrong with them? Did he just say, yeah, but you need to understand the context and the relationship. If you don't get it, don't assume that because you think it's fucked up, that we think it's fucked up.
Exactly. Because at the same time, like, yo, what? someone's doing what to who? Yeah, we'll be right around the corner. Oh, he needs a coat. He needs something. I got him. He's an asshole, but I'm still gonna feed him. Like,
and you always have a choice. If you don't agree with the situation or something that we said, either skip over it or wait for the conversation to change or back out and come back and try again another time. But don't sit here being mad and your whole life is fucked up right now because we said something that irked you or rubbed you the wrong way. I apologize in advance, but I'm not apologizing because I said what I said. I'm apologizing that you have the reaction that you're having and it's causing you to not want to watch us again. That's not the point behind it. Yeah, no, not at all. Just like the comedians. Comedians face the same thing. They can tell jokes all day. As long as you're laughing, everything's fine and dandy. But the second you stop laughing and everybody else is laughing, the world comes to pieces. Just move on with it. Just move on with it.
I agree.
Gentlemen, it's 2.5 hours. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I'm ready.
It's the worst damn gamer ever. Reminding you sometimes in order to be the best, you gotta be the worst. And that's what I'm doing here for you. Peace.
Peace.